What do you do in your spare time, he used to say. He used to tell us as kids. I used to say to the Talmidim. This one thing I can say about my father, bless his memory, that he definitely had Yerushalayim Kedus. It wasn't that they wanted children just for their children. They wanted the Marbe, Kovod Hashem, the continuation of Am Yisrael.
A general picture of what the Rebbe was is that Yiras Hashem Kedim is, he was demanding, and he always translated everything. A mitzvah has a quantum measure.
He wanted to change the world. How did Rebbe change the world? He made a base medrash.
So when I came to the yeshiva, my life became a eulogy. That's what I feel like. But the Rebbe was always on top of us, each and every one of us, and that helped us to break out and to grow.
He gave us with great wisdom and thoughtfulness the opportunity to get the real, true maximum closer to Hashem in Torah in Olam Haba, which he called the end game. The Rebbe, among his various purposes, also was educating us for the ultimate good of Olam Haba to the maximum level that is attainable. In his great love for his Talmidim, his Ruchnius sons, he wanted to help us to put our hands on the best of the best in Olam Haba. Rebbe, we love you, we miss you. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your great love, education, support of us and our families.
One of the major things it says, cannot be satisfied till you push yourself till the end.
The answer, it was so exciting. There was such an energy there. It was so alive. It was so vibrant. It was unbelievable. The Rebbe was a visionary. The Rebbe changed the whole world.
In seconds, he was able to define and to relate to the person and to help him if he wanted to go to the next level.
In 1970, the doors were closed. I mean, there was no place for me to go. Rebbe took me in. Really want to learn Torah. I mean, I feel it in my guts. Really want to learn Torah, you got to learn HaRav. The Rebbe was a visionary and a revolutionary. He gave me a house. I didn't have to pay for water. I didn't pay for electricity. I never known. I just had to live there and come and learn on the basic Yiddish. His chesed was off the charts, and he did that for everybody.
In one way, it was hard because it was demanding, very, very demanding. But you see that all the children, everyone appreciates. And you see that because they knew that it's real true, and the emes sticks. If it's not, people will run away.
I came with a wife and 4 kids here to the yeshiva. No money, a professional chef. And how do you live? How do you support your children, your family, your growing family? How do you do it? Here and there I got a job. Whenever the Rebbe heard I'm working, he said, how much are they paying? I told him, he said, hey, I'll give you the same quick.
The Rebbe went in my place to help this man. In the middle of the mud, without any reservations.
He said, I want to show you the deepness of the Torah. All the time he told me this, I want to show you the deepness of the Torah. That's all I always knew. The yeshiva, the Yevon Torah, the deepness of the Torah. I know that's the truth, that's the real thing, you know.
He understood if I'm not pushing myself, it's not like I thought all the years. Abba, what's the big deal? Okay, I'm learning. What do you want? Trust me, I know the Gemara, I know the Ketzoris, I know the Tzivis. If you don't do it, you're a Poyek Oil. And if you don't do it, you're eventually going to be Oil and called a Torah Kul.
He was a powerful hashpah on everyone, and he fought always hard. We always heard about HaRav, the fight to keep HaRav. And I'll conclude with this. He was offered, correct me if I'm wrong, $15 million. This is way back, to help me out. $15 million to give up HaRav. And he said, I will not take a penny.
All the foundations that I got in the yeshiva and with the Rebbe, it's things that stays and grow and ripes like fruits that it takes them like sometimes like who knows how many years to ripe until you can enjoy the sweetness of those fruits, but it's happening.
Even for us,
Rebbe has been very much a model of a Moshe Rabbeinu of our generation.
I'm going to start the Hespeidim, this Yartzeit or the Torah, etc. So we're going to ask the Talmidim, some of the Talmidim that came to speak, and I asked this time, every time I asked the older Talmidim, and this time I said I will give a chance to the little bit younger or less years. The Rebbe's give them mokoim, words of Torah or words of Anhogo. So I want to mention a Yesoid that I heard from my father, bless his memory, in the name of the Saba Mikele, and he explained it in a very deep way, is brought down in Chelek Dalet and Imam Mordechai, in length, this idea, but he goes in details. And what he speaks about there has to do with us. Us, I mean, the Talmidim that we learned Torah many years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years and up. And he says, a person has to check himself if he really has Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. How can we check if we have Yiras Shamayim Pnimis? We have internal Yiras Shamayim. He mentioned my son, Moshe, when he was 14 years old. So one time he was davening Shmoneh Esrei, 7 minutes, pretty long. And he finished, and my father asked him, bless his memory, what's going on? What was going on? I davened and I finished. He says, only 7 minutes? So he was a little bit chotzuf, and he says, but the rabbi, you also, grandpa also, davened even 5 minutes, less than me. So he told him, no. In your age, when you're starting to build a relation with Hashem, you have to daven 40 minutes. Not 7 minutes and not 5. And when you immerse with Yiras Shamayim, speaking the second with Yiras Shamayim, so then you can daven 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, because you already contact with Hashem. You right away talk to Hashem, because you're always with Hashem. You always think about Hashem. Your heart is always broken to Hashem. You're totally focused. You don't need lishoy shoachas. You always, the whole day is lishoys. That's what he said. So he explains in Imam Mordechai in length, how does a person get Yiras Shamayim Pnimis? He said, how can he check himself? That's the biggest thing. How do you check yourself if you have Yiras Shamayim Pnimis? So he talks about, if he asks a person, I'm Yiras Shamayim Vanai, I learn Torah all day, I do mitzvahs, I do averos, that's all I do all day long. He says that's not a change of Yiras Shamayim, that's not a proof of Yiras Shamayim. It shows you in it, you into rhythm. Yiras Shamayim, and that's what he defines the name of the Saba Mikele, and he brings a lot of guys to it. Yiras Shamayim Pnimis is that the internal person's being is not satisfied, he's always looking to grow in Yiras Shamayim. If you're not always looking to grow in Yiras Shamayim, you know you don't have Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. That's what he says. Very big Yisod. It's not him, it's the Saba Mikele, but he brings the proofs to it, and he explains it in details. What do you do in your spare time, he used to say? He used to tell us as kids, I assume the same to Talmidim. Do you have a sefer? What do you think in your spare time? What do you want? And what do your internal being wants? You always feel we need to grow in Yiras Shamayim, you're always not satisfied, you want to continue to know more about Hashem and think about Hashem and looking for chidushim and understanding every moment. This is Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. And you can check yourself where you're holding. You can be 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, you still can check yourself. It's very serious, very scary actually. Very scary. And this one thing I can say about my father, bless his memory, that he definitely had Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. Anyone that stood next to him, constantly, that's all he was doing, is searching for chidushim and for understanding of Hashem. You couldn't sit next to him even at home in trips and relaxation. All day long, he's always looking for more understanding and connecting to Hashem. When you learn from anything, constantly he's looking to grow. This tremendous desire. That's something which is unbelievable. And kids can say it more because students know the rabbi in yeshiva. What does he do at home? What does he do late at night? What does he do early morning? What does he do on Friday? What does he do on Shabbos night when he's tired? Constantly, to the level that my kids used to say, you couldn't sit next to him. Couldn't be next to him because he's constantly pressing himself and anyone around him to grow in Yiras Shamayim and Hashem understanding. And kids want to relax and not in Yiras Shamayim so on. So they can't handle it. It was too hard. Mamish was tough. Constantly, like a general in war, demanding from himself. And I heard a hesped of the Baruch Mordechai Goldstein and HaRav HaGaon. What was the hesped that he said? He said one thing. He said that HaRav HaGaon demanded on himself to grow like a general. Constantly demand of growth. That was defined. And I defined it according to Sami Kelim, the words of Rabbi is Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. And that's a result. You see the result, how many people he affected. His children, his family, his talmidim. And this is really a big yesod, which I want to say, the shvach of the Rebbe, we can learn from it. It's a big thing for ourselves. To grow in Yiras Shamayim Pnimis. After we learn Torah, the talmidim here, I see a lot of people have white beards. And the time goes by, and you have to ask yourself, do I have Yiras Shamayim Pnimis or not? And the answer is, you have 80% Yiras Shamayim Pnimis, 70, 60, yeah, whatever it is. And you have to always press on yourself to grow in it. And that will be Ilu Neshama for the Rebbe's Zechariah. So I would want to ask, so he will make a different in every year. I do want to give my older brothers and all the Talmidim, but I'm not going to be able to give all because I want to give Mokoim to the younger or less years Talmidim.
Vateri Rochel ki lo yoldo liYaakov. She sees that she cannot have any children. Vatekane Rochel v'achoysa, she had kina. Vatomer el Yaakov hoveli bonim im ayin beisa anoichi. So all the Mefarshim explain that it wasn't regular kina. It wasn't like jealousy. It's true that she wanted children, but it wasn't because that Leah has children, she wants children. The reason why she wanted children is to fulfill what every woman needs to do to worship Hashem, to have a child. And she also had a cheshbon over here. She said, okay, at the beginning, and the Mefarshim explains, that at the beginning she felt that, okay, she's barren, and also Leah is. Then Hashem opened up the womb of Leah, and she started to have children. So then she thought, okay, maybe Leah will have all the 12 tribes, because all the Imois, they had Nevuah. So she thought that maybe they have all the 12 tribes. Okay, that's Ratzon Hashem. But the minute she saw that after the third child, she has a fourth child, and then she could have continued, but then all of a sudden, it says a pasuk before that, Vatamad miledet. She cannot have any more children. And so she made a cheshbon. Hashem gave her. Why Hashem gave her more? And also, he opened up a womb. Must be that she's a bigger tzaddikas than me. So the kina that she had wasn't on actually the children. It was that she is a bigger tzaddikas, so she had kina that. That means as it says kina soifit chochma. And we know it says also pikyonis that kina v'atayva v'akovet motzina sodom min oilom. It takes the person out of the world. So here she had a cheshbon. She had a cheshbon that, okay, now she must be she's a bigger tzaddikas. So I also want to become a tzaddikas. And at the end Hashem gave her the children. The reason why I'm bringing this here, that also our father, Ovi Meri, he also for 3.5 years at the beginning of their marriage, they had no children. And of course they davened, they went to Rabbonim, but at the end, the Kodesh Baruch Hu opened up the Rachman. There's like a process a person has to go through in life. Some don't have children, and then they have children. Some have children with problems. Everyone has a different avodas Hashem, and that's one of the first avodas as a married person that my parents had. And wasn't that they wanted children just for the children. They wanted the marbe covered Hashem, the continuation of Am Yisrael. So we can take us on ourselves that anything that happens to us, we have to take it personal. How this will do? How we're going to serve Hashem in every situation in situation.
HaRav Sackton.
Rosh Yeshiva, I was moved by your Haggadah of the year of Penimis and what the Rabbi represented to us. And what I wanted to speak about is that also a general picture of what the Rebbe was in that Yiras Hashem Penimis. He was demanding, and he always translated everything. A mitzvah has a quantum measure. We're here today to honor our Rebbe, Haskara, to remember him. So I think the idea is, it's scary. To remember him properly is mechayeh. It's a davar mechayeh. It's something that it's not simple to give him that kavod or to look up to him. It's scary to think of who the Rebbe was. And it's been 8 years now that we don't have him. It's a tremendous mechayeh. And Rabbeinu Bachya says in the parsha of Toldos that Ben Mizake Av and Av Mizake Ben, and it's not to. He really says one is dependent on the other. One is the cause of the other. When the children, Talmidim are like children. When the children represent and live and go in the ways of their father, then the father is a schus for them, and they're also able to zakeh their father. Maybe not that generation, it's really 2 generations. It was Yaakov Avinu who was mezakeh Avram Avinu. Yitzhak, or Yitzhak and Avram was a miyuchad, and it says Avram told us Avram, Yitzhak, Avram, they were together, but it's a davar mechayev to think back of all those years and to remember the Rebbe in a way that we affect ourselves, we demand from ourselves. We think, and what would the Rebbe do? He would say, this gathering is a demand on you. Don't be relaxed. Don't be just everything is wonderful. It's a demand. It's a very serious demand. So you picture that in order for a ben to be mezakeh av, like Yaakov Avinu was mezakeh Avram, the Hazal says, and the Rabbeinu Bachya brings it. So they were davening. Yitzhak and Rivka were davening to have children, and they both wanted children. They both had that yachas with Hashem to daven like in a proper way and from their hearts. Now Yitzhak had a picture of a son that will continue, and he davened for that. And Rivka had a picture, and she was davening. Hashem, we get there, the Yitzhak. You listen to Yitzhak, Tzadik ben Tzadik. What was Yitzhak's picture? The Ramban explains Yitzhak pictured Esav. He thought, this will be my continuation. He's my Bechor. He loved him. He said, I'll give him, Ramban says, I'll give Esav the brachas of Avraham Avinu of Eretz Yisrael to continue the Jewish people. Rivka had a nevuah that the one who continues is Yaakov Avinu. Why didn't she tell Yitzhak? So the Ramban explains that at the beginning, when she got the nevuah, Rabbi Avotzir, she didn't tell her husband the nevuah because she said, well, that's Sheva Ever. My husband is a much bigger man than them. And when it came to the brachas, when she heard he's going to give the bracha, she also didn't tell him the nevuah. Why not? I mean, he's going to give the bracha to Esav. So Rivka said to herself, according to the Ramban, if I tell my husband the nevuah, the response is he's not going to give the bracha to Yaakov. He's going to do like his father and not give the bracha at all. HaRav HaGaon had Yitzhak and Yishmael, and yet he didn't give the bracha. Hashem gave the bracha to Yitzhak Avinu. So Rivka, in her great wisdom, Hashgacha Pratis, so although Hashem listened to the tefillot of Yitzhak Avinu and answered him, and he gave him that bechor that he asked for. He didn't answer Rivka, but he listened to Rivka, and listening to Rivka's prayer, that's produced that there was another brother. And we come from that brother. And so, although it wasn't the understanding that Yitzhak had until a later stage, but the one who was zocheh to be a ben mezakeh av, that he saved Yaakov Avinu. Imagine, he saved his grandfather from the Kitchen Age. Now, we're in a world where there's a world of neshamot, and there's aliyas neshama. We live in this world. This world is full of all kinds of confusions, lots of mitzvahs which are nitzchi, which over there's no mitzvahs which are nitzchi anymore. The neshama is nitzchi. And the aliyas neshama is, there's tremendous mitzvahs, ain't the shire, what aliyas neshama the Rebbe has from his mitzvahs. What can we do? What is our job? What is our job? We're here to remember the Rebbe, a great neshama. And the Ilmi Nishmaso, what is our job? It's a tremendous chiyuv. If not us, somewhere down the line should come that ben mezakeh av like a Yaakov Avinu. Our job is to make sure that we go in his ways, not just take it for granted. Of course, what else are we doing? That's what we do. We learn. We love what the Rebbe taught us. No, there's a demand. There's a demand. Would the Rebbe say you're doing it? That's what we have to ask ourselves. The Rebbe is very demanding on us till this day, and that's a bracha. That's a bracha for all of us. Bracha for his family. Bracha should be a melitz yosher for his children and great grandchildren, great grandchildren, the yeshiva for all the time, and for his talmidim.
HaRav HaGaon Goldstein speaking.
Chose, on je chie, monsieur, on a encore, on Israël, quoi, comme les Chachomim. Misad Dishmaya. I found a beautiful sforno of this last week Pasha, and I have a copy, so people want. Magdiret Moizi of people to see, of Yisrael. I think we should say, I basically say Pshat the sforno, and this basically, I think is to give like a gather and a gedorot for my father's Zatzah B'Chol Yeshiva. The Sforno makes a yachas between Avram
Yitzchak and Yaakov, between them. And he says the avodah of Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak and Yaakov. He gives basically the avodah and the tamtzit God. And he says like this: why Hashem liked Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? He says because he says also the Shomim Mishmarti. They always made Tomid Mishmeret Amiyuchadli. What it means Mishmeret? Nigmul Chesed. Like it says a pasuk, Ochet Hashem Chesed Be'emes. Like my father Zechbach says, why Yeshiva Bal Yeshiva Buddha Ben Yoino? He says Chesed Be'emes Chupa Oven. So what's the avodah of? What was the avodah of Avram, Yitzchak and Yaakov? Was to teach, to do Chesed. All the ways of Hashem is Chesed Be'emes. And he continues, Le'arois chatoim b'derech, to teach people the derech, the way. And this, how he did it, by he called Hashem Hashem. He called Hashem Hashem, this is the way how he's able to do it. Able to change people, able to teach the people the way. But this he says is not where you can do it, only if you know Dover Mekayim. You cannot teach Klal Yisrael, teach the world, if you don't keep it yourself. So the Avraham Avinu to Yaakov, they're noider, it's not Mekayim. Now he has a different problem. We see Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. We see that Avraham was not toile b'schus atzmoi, and not toile b'schus no one, and Yitzchak was toile b'schus Avraham Avinu, and Yaakov was not toile b'schus. Yaakov was not toile b'schus Yitzchak and not b'schus Avraham Avinu. At this point, he wants to explain. I mean, to able to Hashem to help Yitzchak, he had to be toile in Avraham Avinu. And Yaakov, no, and Avraham not. He explains why. So he says, when Yitzchak was toile b'schus Acherim, Avraham Yitzchak, when before he's called b'Shem Hashem. Before he called b'Shem Hashem, then he had to do b'schus always. But after he called Hashem, it brings a psukim that he didn't have to call Hashem. It brings even more raya. He brings Hashem with him. And not only that, he says, after we call Hashem, all the mirivot that Yitzchak had stopped. All the thing happened after. All the mirivot is before we call Hashem. After we call Hashem, lo matzinu tloes v'kanim divra'acha, like Rishon, after we call Hashem. This is Avram and this is Yitzchak. Now the biggest chiddush is Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu is, we see Yaakov Avinu go out to the world. This is the chiddush Yaakov Avinu. The kasha is the Rabbi, he wanted to change the world. How did the Rabbi change the world? He made a beis medrash. He made a beis medrash. He didn't change the world, he made a beis medrash. You know, we have to be, if you want to change the world, you have to be like Plonyan Moini. He goes out there every night to go and give a speech in that place, and that place, and that place, and that place, and be every day a big darshan in all places in the world, and give droshes. But the Rabbi did not do that. The Rabbi did not go every night to go a different place to give a drosha. And the Sfon explains why, the Derech HaEmes. And he says, because the tachlis of Yaakov Avinu, he didn't have to schus others, because he made a beis medrash. In the beis medrash, he said, Shom'i lakom mevakshe b'li sofek. In the yeshiva, everyone is mevakshe Hashem. He picked them up. So what is the avodah of my father? What is the avodah of the Rosh Yeshiva avodah? Everyone is mevakshe Hashem. He picked them up. This is my father's avodah. The job, you don't have to go outside. By Yaakov Avinu, he didn't have to do Nikro b'Shem Hashem like Avram and Yitzchak. In the beis medrash, inside the beis medrash, and this he says, in Oilev Hashem, your job is to pick up. And this is the chiddush of beis medrash. You want to change the world? Make a beis medrash. Be Rosh Yeshiva. Be Ma'abed Torah. In that place, And what is your job? Kol mevakshi Hashem, you have to pick him up. So who comes to the yeshiva? It's mevakshi Hashem. This is the cloud. Who accepted the Asper Yeshiva mevakshi Hashem? If you're not mevakshi Hashem, you can have the, everyone in the yeshiva here, if it's mevakshi Hashem, so what is your job? To pick him up. And every way you could do. This is the avodah of, this is the avodah my father's Shabbat Neshama, Shazat Hashem, to know, and we have to know that job. All our job, every student in the future, everybody, every job is, who is in the yeshiva, you have to pick him up. Everyone, it was Vakshi Hashem, what is your job? To pick him up. And everyone has to be, this is the job. Shabbat Neshama, all of us will be, pick up everyone in the yeshiva, and everyone to be smedish, and this is we bring Hashem to the world. And then you do that, you don't need schus avos. You don't need, Yaakov didn't have the schus of Yitzchak and Avraham by himself. That is the biggest schus b'fnei atzmo. You don't need more than that. She is Baruch.
הרב שמואל פי השליטה. מבקשים, אם אפשר, לדבר בין 4 ל-5 דקות. We're asking if you can speak only 4 or 5 minutes. Thank you.
English.
There's so much to say. I felt like when I came to the yeshiva, my life became a real life. That's what I feel like. Here is life. Outside, swimming, you don't know where you're going. But anyway, this is a little drush, but to me it's a little bit of when I think of the Rebbe. It says in the Parsha, Yaakov Avinu came to Haran, this week's Parsha, so what's he see? He gets close to Haran, he sees the shepherds, the royim, and he sees the sheep. And they're around a well, and they're sitting. And what does Yaakov do? He says to them, Ora yom gadol, lo et esaf amikne. Ishku atzon v'lechu v'r'uf. Rashi explains, Yaakov Avinu, this is like my thinking of the Rebbe. The Rebbe was always proactive. He saw something, it needs to be changed. So Yaakov saw these guys sitting, and Rashi explains, he says to them, listen, are you guys working for, the master, the boss? What are you guys sitting around for? You got a lot of time in the day. Get to work. Or Rashi says, he says to them, maybe they're not employed. Maybe they're the owners. So he said, wait a minute, why are you guys sitting? You guys are lazy. The Rebbe was very chazak. He sees somebody, he feels he's not doing what he has to be doing. He's not learning. He's not doing something good. So the Rebbe could give a bop on the head. And so that's what Yaakov was saying to these guys. Yaakov didn't even know them. The Rebbe didn't even know half the guys that came here off the street. The Rebbe didn't know them, but the Rebbe was right there. So that's what Yaakov was telling them. If you're workers, you got a lot of time. Don't just sit around. And if you are just you own the sheep, okay, you got a lot of time. Don't be lazy. The Rebbe say, don't be lazy. And then what happens? What do they say back to Yaakov? They said, no, we're not lazy. We're not wasting time. We have to wait till the other shepherds come to help us push off the rock. That's what they said. But we know that in the end, it was Yaakov that pushed off the rock. So now, were they telling the truth? Were they being lazy? I don't know. The Rebbe looked at someone. Maybe the guy had an excuse. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the Rebbe said, the Rebbe could look like, like it says in one of the songwriters, I look through your brain like the water running down the drain. So the Rebbe would look through you, and he could see, are you telling the truth? Maybe you don't even know you're not telling the truth. But the Rebbe was always on top of us, each and every one of us. And that helped us to break out of and to grow. Anyway, I just want to, I got so much to thank for the Rebbe. He was so big, spiritually so big, he just like, Mamish could take not just everybody here. He not only brought them into the world of Torah, but made them create families and their children and grandchildren. Who does that? Anyways, thank you. Thank you, Hashem. Thanks that I was able to be zoche to come here. And the Rebbe should have Ilui Neshama, and it should be Melius Yosef for everybody, all his family, and all the Talmidim.
הרב אהרון גולדשטיין שליטה.
טוב, אני אדבר קצת בעברית, אפשר? כן. מי שלא מבין? Everybody understands English. אוקיי. פעם שאלו, רב חיים מבריסק, מה התפקיד של הרב? רב בקהילה, חיים. אז הוא אמר, the rabbi said, what's the תפקיד? What's the main goal of the rabbi? Not main goal, the תפקיד. He said, חסד. אוקיי. שאלו את רבי קצר חונו, רב מקובנה, this is what I heard. מה התפקיד של הרב? אז הוא אמר, what's the job of the רב? To give מוסר. שאלו את האורך השולחון, מה התפקיד של הרב? What's the job of a rabbi? To smile. מה התפקיד של הרב? לחייך. הוא אמר לפסוק הלכה. פסקי הלכה. שאלו את הרב של הדף היומי, הרב מאיר שפירא, מה התפקיד של הרב? אז הוא אמר, ללמוד תורה, ללמוד וללמד. אמרתי, אצל הרבי, התפקיד שלו היה הכל. He was מוסר, when אתה מוסר, פסק הלוכה, הלימוד תורה, מסבית גדול, תפקיד of everything. שאלו פעם את אדמו"ר אחד, זה חשוב מה שאני אומר, שאלו פעם אדמו"ר אחד אמיתי, he was a ben of an admor, a son of an admor. So he said that when I was a avrech kollel, I thought, if my father's an admor, I'll get everything, a big Rebbe, admor. Okay, so he started learning halacha, התחיל ללמוד הלכות, the shas, poskim, okay. After he got a little higher position, he became the rov. Okay? רוב, פסקי הלכה, וזה. בסדר. אחרי שהוא נהיה אדמו"ר, מה התפקיד שלך? הוא אמר, כל היום אני אומר תהילים. מה הנקודה בזה? מה הנקודה בזה? לא, זה... הנקודה היא בזה, ודאי שהאדמו"רים למדו. אבא סיפר, my father said that when he went with my uncle Jewish here, בדל החיים, to ask a shayla, שאל שאלה about the things that said in the Gemara שמביא לשכחה. Things that you eat, let's say, zaitim, olives with oil or not with oil, things that brings לשכחה. So my uncle asked, does it apply everything today or not because things are changing? He had that child, I don't know the answer, but so he took him to Admor Misatmer. Talked to Satmer Rebbe, Rabbi Yoel, big Goyen. So my father said he went in till he went on the line, till he get there, עד שהוא נכנס לשם. מאיפה שהוא נכנס בדלת, from the time he gets into the door, let's say to that door, it's like a big hallway, whatever, to go in, a big room. The Rebbe was learning with the Chavrusa Gemara. He didn't even look back, not a glimpse. שהגיע ממש אליו, הוא הרים את הראש, שאל את השאלה, ענה את התשובה, he answered, and then he didn't even look around, שכוח. He kept learning and then walking back, זהו. ודאי שהיה, השאלה היא פה, מה העול שהראש ישיבה או הרב לוקח. הראש ישיבה לקח הכל. אם ב3 בלילה, if 3 o'clock at night, there's a shlom bayis problem, take a taxi, no תירוצים, run, תלך, תעזור. שעה 4 בבוקר זה, 12 בבוקר, I need to go, צריך לעזור למישהו, הולך מיד, he goes. זה היה התפקיד. אז חשבתי, מה התפקיד שלנו? הכל. מה התפקיד של הורים? הכל. No such thing is not my job, not my... הכל התפקיד שלנו, גם לעושה חידושי תורה, גם ללמוד, גם להגיד תהילים. יעקב אבינו אמר, לא מצד הדין, מצד הרחמים. אם השם יהיה עמדי, שמרה לי באשר הדרך ברחמים. Everything you need to do. That was the chiddush of the Rebbe. You have to do everything. One more thing. יש לי עוד דקה וחצי. One more thing. When the Rebbe was in the hospital and he was supposed to get a nituach, an operation, and about this, stomach, this, that, and they gave this 5%. Kitzur Baruch Hashem, you're out of it. And then, so I asked him, Abba, ma ata choshev achshav? What are you thinking now? Okay, what are you thinking now? You pulled through Baruch Hashem. What are you thinking now? I thought he's gonna, shum davar. He said to me like this. I was there, I think alone, I don't know. He says, David HaMelech, King David, when he had all this trouble, his son was running after him, and everything is the thing, what did he say? He was singing. So I'm singing to Hashem. דרגות כאלה, אני בעצמי הייתי, שאלתי. אמרתי, אם ככה, ודאי הניתוח יצליח. ככה בלב שלי אמרתי, and I remember Rabbi Man asked me that. What is the Rebbe saying? And I told you that. Remember you called me? Shieh Bari. As I'm saying that the Rebbe knew every position, that's why people listened to him, because it was emes. Sing to Hashem. And then I told it to my father-in-law, Shieh Bari. So he told me that he brought me a ride from the Zohar, that when David HaMelech heard that Avshalom is running after him, so the Gemara says, to hurt him, so Gemara says, he said, Baruch Hashem, it's my son and not somebody else. That's the Gemara. He said, Baruch Hashem is around people. I don't know what it was exactly. What does that mean? So he could have been alone. So he's singing to Hashem, Baruch Hashem is. So Kol Matzav, HaRav Yadai, if it's learning, Reb Chaim is learning this, everything Matzav, he knew how to handle through the Torah. That was the tafkid of Rosh Yeshiva. שיהיה זכרו ברוך, לעילוי נשמתו, רב השם, השם יענה את כל תפילתנו.
Rabbi Fisher, did you speak the other times?
Reshus Rosh Yeshiva, Talmidim. I want to say over a mile of the Rebbe, which I begin to preach in a value for which we should all be so grateful for. What is it? He gave us with great wisdom and thoughtfulness the opportunity to get the real, true maximum closest to Hashem in Torah in Olam Haba, which he called the end game. Like we see in the words of Mishnah, in the Mishnah in Baba Metzia, it says, his teacher who taught him wisdom brings him to life in Olam Haba. And how did he do it? He took us, he made me into his Torah family through the yeshiva, and he made us his sons. As it says, the one who teaches someone Torah, that someone is considered as being a son to the teacher. And the Rebbe taught us Torah, Musar, and Midos, and through this, the emes of the Torah could be achieved. He taught us to strive for greatness in Torah and emes and mito. By accepting us and letting us come close to him and learning Musar and personal relations with unconditional love, we came to love him more and more. He taught us to think in Torah and to fight him in learning, which Chazal says in the end, the father and the son come to love each other. His Rebbe, Rav Hennig, he learned from the dots that came, that the more that one loves his Rebbe, the more he will cling to the Rebbe's Masor and Torah, and the more he'd be faithful in Kiyum the Torah. He always said to me, Chaim, learn. The Rebbe always emphasized that we must get pleasure from our learning. I asked the Rebbe, what is the most important Musar? He told me the first parak of Mesilas Yesharim. And what does it say over there? It says the man was created except to have onig on Hashem. And later it says the Klal Shadav, the man was not created except for his position in Olam Haba. Rav Isaac Shir, he said over there, the man needs, while still in Olam Hazeh, to fix in his soul the feeling of onig on Hashem by the way of limud Torah v'chulei, and the meshment that he is zocha to. Thus Hashem will zocha to him to onig and Olam Haba. The Rabbi Yonah says in Shari Tshuva, tells us that we are to know that the mitzvah of Talmud Torah gives one a Ma'ila Yonah with the range of many possible levels. The Rebbe emphasized using Koach Hatzir, and that we should have to help us to grow. And he said, Olam Haba is another place, meaning relate to Olam Haba as a real place. Rabbi Victor Miller said, he taught there's a learning Gemara in the Yeshiva Shel Mala, and those who had a real Geshmak and learning will get the real taste of Onig and Olam Haba. The Hafetz Chaim in his Hakdama to Torah's bias, he said, a soul in the name of the Vilna Gaon, he said a soul can advance from one yeshiva to another in Shalom Mamala, and not until he reaches before Hashem. The Havetz Chaim himself wrote that any parts that one has in some little yediyah in his learning in Olam Hazeh, he'd be zoka to learn them from in front of Hashem. The Targum Yonasam explains in Tehillim, he says, happy is the heart of the man who desires to learn Torah from in front of Hashem. Rav Shlomo told me that the Rebbe always had Olam Haba in his mind. The Rambam wrote in Hilchas Tshuva, he said, how much did David HaMelech have a taivet for the life of Olam Haba? And the Rebbe said that David HaMelech machadish to Am Yisrael how to live life practically according to the Torah. Therefore, I understand from all of this, the Rebbe, among his various purposes, also was educating us for the ultimate good of Olam Haba to the maximum level that is attainable. In his great love for his Talmidim, his Ruchnius sons, he wanted to help us to put our hands on the best of the best in Olam Haba. Rebbe, we love you, we miss you. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your great love, education, support of us and our families. May it be your will, Hashem, Father in heaven, the blessed one, that in the schus of the Rebbe's holy efforts that he gave us, that you should raise his neshama to the highest heights in Olam Haba, Kedusha and Tahara. May you bless us with the siyata shema that will exert itself in the Rebbe's Talmud and his family, and the Melis B'Torah in this world and the next world, to give you Nakas Ruach and our Torah, and let it be the schus for Klal Yisrael in this world and the next world. May your Torah Kedosha have more satisfaction in the Zug Klal Yisrael.
Saying schus of my father, one of the major things it says, cannot be satisfied till you push yourself till the end. You push yourself every Shabbos, we say it, everybody got the booklet. So I thought, what could be the biggest honor? Into this booklet, but been so remoiling. So I said, I wanted to share with you guys that part of what he wrote in this book, Mordechai, that he worked it out and he spread it. And he says, you have to do the other. It's interesting that Ben Noach, that he was Mevorach Hashem, cursed Hashem. One of the 7 Noach laws is Birkas Hashem is not allowed to curse Hashem, so we call it Birkas Hashem in the nice words. So, if you did curse, so the din is what? That is Chayav Misa. How we describe the Misa? So for sure it's different than Jewish laws and the Ben Noach laws. A Jewish laws, you have to have Eidim, you have to have a soil, you have to go to Beis Din, and the whole and the type of death, skila. By a Gentile is different. You can have one aid, one dayan, and that's all. It's done. But in that terms, what happens then? It's a hefkerveld. Anybody can kill him, or no? Not everybody can kill him. You have like the court, you have a special message, a special guard to kill him. So here it's called a green area. It's not so clear. Gray area. Gray area that's not so clear. Whoever takes the position. So the trying to Avshach and Rabbi Ezri was trying to compare it to Ben Zomer. Ben Zomer is the guy that ate, the Rambam is talking about, how much he ate, to drink, and he stole from his father. And you have the first shift, you have the second shift. The first shift is 3 Eidim, the second shift is 23 Eidim. And when you kill them, those 3, they have to be there, the Rambam says, they have to see it, how they kill it, they have to be part and participate in the whole process, what's going on. But anyhow, what happened if after it was Mardin? So the Yechayev, it's not going to help him. The din was done, it was done. Yechayev, you can't run away, even though you ran away from court, so you ran, but it's after Mardin, it's running after you. So the question is comparison. That's like a Chaim Levi, also. Comparison from one case to another case. You have one case of what? Of a situation of Ben Noach that is obligated. Because right away is a curse. As a curse, Hashem is chayav misa. And it happened to me, since he made a trick, he converted. See, it's another way, another translating of running away. Oh, he's a tzaddik, he's potter. He does now, we're not going to kill him. Even though he has it, the mice says he did this his position, but he's potter. But in the other case of somebody that ran away, I mean it was Ben Suyum Moire, and we say no. If it didn't become in that 3 months that he did it, you still say chayav. Why? Over here he ran away. Over here he ran away. This is running away from becoming a new person. He also ran away, becoming running away from the court. So we have to understand, how you describe a Gemar Din. Because since the Chiv is on the Gel, and it was already Gemar Din, and we decide right away, even if we don't have the Lush and the language of Gemar Din, the Mais is Chayav Misa. So my Shnai Me'ai, we can pass one to the other. So if I look at it, I say, he's right. Look, here's a Gemar Din. Here's a Gemar Din. Here's a Ben Noach. Happened to be at his position, the word, that he did whatever he did. And here's a Ben Suyum, he has a psak din. Wherever he can run away, he can run away. So, obviously we have to make as a split. By Gershon is Gaia, you're right, he's a bar chiyuva. It's called a bar chiyuva. You're right. But the Gerus is mevatel the chiyuv. How would describe it? Kikotin shenoila. What is kikotin shenoila? Ger. So what is that? It means it's the mitzias. The mice is the same thing. Before he was a man, now he's a man. There's no difference. But obviously, what is the difference? The chiyuvim, the aspect that already was before he was bar chiyuv. Now the Gerus is mevatel the chiyuv. Mashengi b'mitzvah umeira. The chiyuv is always there, never removed. It was there before. It was there after. Yeah. So running away never changed. Never changed. So like the Yad Ramah says, the svor vishtani never changed. Never removed. And that lechoira, the obligation could be also before the Gemara. It doesn't have to go to God. It could be also. Comes the Yad Ramah and says, no, it cannot be. Why? Because if a Noach, it's not comparable. Because a Ben Noach before was one din. Like let's say we said, one dayan, one aid, the misses is different misses, not skill, it's a different one. It's a tzayif. But after you convert, it's not the same din. Why? After you need 18, you need shloisha, then you need 24, you have the first ship, you have the second ship. So it's not the same. How you compare the same thing? It's not the same thing. So, how you described it? So here my father came in, and first he said, Avshach says, Kotten Shenoila, I cannot accept it. Why? Because you have a thesis. The Yad Ramah is a thesis before Gemara, then after Gemara, first it's a Meforshut thesis. By the way, my brother Israel told me, he spoke about it yesterday, and he said that the Chinuch, also if you look at the Arot, the Mechasim also brings it, brings the Rashi. So, I was very happy that my father first was in Midas Emes. He came and he said it's thesis. So you see, I was happy that my father was Mechabit to Midas Emes. The what? That really is the thesis is different between before Gmar Psak Din and after Psak Din. Before Psak Din, what really could be, Runway says no, really, it's not Bar Chiyuv. So it should be Psak. After Gmar Din, right, it's Bar Chiyuv, so it's the same equal thing. But the comparison between that and that, it's a little bit hard because it's not the same. Because Babei Noach is really in the dinim. It's not the same din because before it was one way, now it's another way. It's the same thing before and after. Before Gmar Din, after Gmar Din, the chiyuv never changed. It always stayed the same thing. And I don't want to be bad. I want to be that should be Nishmas, my father, And I always like what he said, when it's the last part, as he said, you cannot be satisfied till you push yourself till the end.
הרב ישוע מן שליטה.
Rabbi, our Rabbi, there's 1,000 things I could say, and I'm not going to. One thing that just stands out. I mean, everything stands out. One thing, which was the Rebbe's Ian Shur. The Rebbe's Ian Shur, Ashrei Ayin Ras Azois. Ashrei Ayin Ras Azois. The Ian Shir was so exciting. Sometimes people, every now and then, they ask me, like, where'd you get your Ahavas Torah? HaRav Hashem, they ask me. So I don't know always what to say. But on the occasion of the Rebbe Eighth Yartzeit, it came to me clearly. The Ian Shir, it was so exciting. There was such an energy there. It was so alive. It was so vibrant. It was unbelievable. With all the words the Rebbe Eighth Yartzeit likes to use, alive, vibrant, scintillating. It was really that, and it just, it was just amazing. And I just want to. I wish there was some better way I could share it with you. I wish I could describe it better. Those of you who know you were there, and those who weren't. Baruch Hashem. That's the Rebbe was a visionary. The Rebbe changed the whole world. I mean, there was when I came. I already came late. When I came late, there was the Torah world was tiny in Eretz Yisrael. How did it get so huge? From baal teshuva. Where'd that come from? The Rebbe was a total visionary, and we all miss him. But Mitzvah Hashem all be for eulogies. And the other thing is, he's a great Talmid Chacham, so he's free in his thinking, and so he was mechadesh. So not only could you say niflam about Moed Torah and the learning, of course, and in Musar and Chinuch, but also he was mechadesh that when he would greet us, anybody came to the yeshiva, right, and then each other, so a handshake and a kiss. That was a chiddush. And I don't know if it's still true today, but it was then. Anyway, really, I could go on and on. I won't do it, but again, the Ian Shearers of Rosh Yeshiva, were just unbelievable. The Rebbe, to this day, it just keeps me. That's what keeps me going. And HaRav, like the wonderful words of Sakin said, and Apia, and Feisher, old friends. And Mitzvah Hashem, the beautiful words of Yeshiva Shlita. And Bezrat Hashem, we said the Rabbi should be made Yosef for us all. We shall be as everything anything I do, all my mitzvahs, all my Torah is all in Niskaf Letzrusa, Rabbi Zecher Tzaddik.
Amen.
הרב דוד גולדשטיין שליטה. בבקשה להקפיד על 4-5 דקות. Please keep on 3, 4, 5 minutes.
One point you can say that the Rosh Yeshiva, our father, knew how to relate to tremendous amount of people in their level, where they're holding, wherever they are, to bring them close to Hashem. And this was tremendously, constantly repeated again and again in many, many people. If it was the Talmid Chacham, if it was the newcomer to the yeshiva, if it was a man that wasn't Jewish, or a woman that wasn't Jewish, or secular, lo meshane, he had that koyach, he had that bracha in his neshama, that we was able in seconds, b'siyata d'ishmaya, al pi roiv, I cannot say all the time, he had problems sometimes, he did, but al pi rov, majority of the times, in seconds he was able to define and to relate to the person and to help him if he wanted to go to the next level. And those that were zoche, doesn't matter the earlier Talmidim, doesn't matter the older Talmidim, the newcomers, even outsiders, that when we went to trips, to different places in the world, if it was Russia, India, doesn't matter where he was able in seconds, b'siyata d'ishmaya, to relate and give the person his need, if he was interested, if he had the kli prepared, the water was there. The spiritual water was there to give him. And I think this is a big thing the Ilui Nishma sign has to do with his neshama. For sure you had a choice, for sure you had bechira, but it's something to do with his neshama. So he was training us, all of us, take your specialties that Hashem gave you, take your qualities that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, and go to the next step. Each and every one in his life reality. I think this will be the Ilui Nishma sign. Instead of saying a word of Torah, saying a different word in a different way, how we can apply it to ourselves, that we were zochet to see somebody like that, and to live with him, and to experience with him. A minute, or 50 years, or 55 years. A minute and 55 years is the same thing. If you're zochet, you're zochet. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us the koach that all the minutes and the hours and the days and the months and the years that we had with him, we should try to apply to us, each and everybody in his reality. The Shalom Bayis, Torah, Yirat Shamayim, your wife, your children, your Torah, your Chidushim. He smacked you, you didn't say it right, say it again, alive, right? And all that thing that you can say, that you were able to apply to you, continue it. That will be the new Nishma.
רב יששכר גרניצקי שליטה.
I was the babysitter for most of the boys. To see Rabbi Yitzhak going to a Rosh Yeshiva, take this huge responsibility to keep the dream going. That the Diaspora Yeshiva represents. And the saying it goes like this. It goes like this. The saying goes, all roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to Rome. So, of course, that means for the Christians, that's you go to the Pope and you be a notary. So I always translated it that all roads lead to Yerushalayim. This is where, this is our home, so we belong. And but sof kol sof, all roads really want to learn Torah, I mean, I feel it in my guts that really want to learn Torah, you got to learn HaRav. All roads lead to HaRav. I want to give Rabbi Yitzhak bracha to have the strength and wisdom and to keep this wonderful institution going and growing and prospering, and keeping our doors open. That's what we did. That's how I got here. The doors were open. There was no when in 1970 the doors were closed. I mean, there is no place for me to go. Rabbi took me in, and I'm still here. We used to see a lot of fruit from a lot of seed. He should get a Lena Shoma just to see what this yeshiva has turned into. It's growing and it's still alive and it's still happening.
הרב אלימלך ליפצ'יק.
Rosh Yeshiva, Chaverim. When I come to HaRav, every stone for me is a story. I came when I was 20 years old. And a year later, I'm married, learning in yeshiva. The Rebbe was a visionary and a revolutionary. He made a girls' school for us to get married, find our zivugim. We had children. We had a gan yeladim. The children got bigger. He made a Talmud Torah in a Beis Yaakov. When he got bigger, he made a yeshiva down on the other side of the mountain for our children. He gave me a house. I didn't have to pay for water. I didn't pay for electricity. I didn't have arnona. I just had to live there and come and learn on the basic Yiddish. Chesed was off the charts, and he did that for everybody. Before I got married, my mother-in-law had the meeting with the Rebbitzin. Everybody has the meeting with the Rebbitzin at some point. And the Rebbe too. And she said, maybe they could go up north. One of those yeshivas or samehs opening something up in north there, and they're gonna, teach how to be rabbi, and there'll be work there for them. I was outside the office, but this is what I heard. The Rebbe, the Kol Koach, said, "My boys don't work." I never saw my mother-in-law run out to the office, run anywhere that fast. And that set the tone. My boys don't work, they learn. You're here, you're here to learn. When I came to the yeshiva, it was a very wild time. It was a very soar. The Rebbe was fighting for every inch of HaRav. And when I say fighting, I mean fighting. There were fights. There were physical fights. There was lots of things going on here. He had a vision of what he wanted to see here. How would Machzik this place? That was so full of, you have the Tumah here and you have the arts there, like to make it a Makom Torah. And I saw that. I lived here for 28 years. And every nook and cranny here to me is a story. The Rebbe was doeg like a father for me, for my family, for everybody. But besides the Torah I got from the Rebbe, and I can't, and every time I approach Torah, it's the Rebbe in me is approaching Torah. It's always there. is really hanhakas, because I got to see so many times the Rebbe living here. I got to see him in many times maybe other people wouldn't. And everybody knows the Rebbe was an Avram Avinu, was a baal chesed. People would come, open the doors, there's a room, there's food, everybody. I think everybody got accepted, And I remember later, having kids, I was like, I would go to the Rebbe, or I would go to other Rebbeim and complain and say, could you talk to the Rebbe? This guy, he shouldn't be here, or this one's doesn't fit in, whatever it is. It never worked. The Rebbe, he kept everybody, But there was another side to the Rebbe, and I don't know how many people saw it, besides the Chesed side, but there was a very big Gevura side of the Rebbe too, and I got to see that also. And I was once in charge of the dormitories one year. I was already married, and I was in charge of the dorms, and there was a new boy there, and he'd been there for a while, and he wasn't learning, and he wasn't keeping Shabbos, and it came to Erev Yom Kippur, says in the book. And I went up to the dorms because Rebbe said, get all the guys, make sure everybody's there. It's, Kol Nidre starting in a minute. I went up, and the guy's, sitting outside of his door playing guitar, minutes before Kol Nidre. And I went back to the Rebbe and I said, this guy, he's there. This guy that I've talked to you about before, he's up there. He's playing guitar. And the Rebbe said to me, and I'm looking at my watch, like, isn't it Yom Kippur yet? It's like Kol Nidre. He said, go upstairs, take all of his stuff, and put it down onto the highway. That's how we used to do with people that eventually didn't belong here. A bunch of guys would come, and they would gather his stuff up, and they would take it down to the street. And then you're out. That's how we did it. And I got a couple guys, seconds before Kol Nidre, and I said to the Rebbe, I said, it's almost Yom Kippur, it's Kol Nidre, you want me to do it? He said, and this is what he said. He said, Hashem to Adam Arishon out of Gan Eden right before Shabbos. He said, go there and throw him out. I learned. That was Gevura. One day I was sitting learning here, and the Rebbe walked into the Beis Midrash, looked upset. He went up to a bacher. The bacher stood up, and the Rebbe went and gave him a slap across the face, like you could hear it over, in Silwan. Never speak with chutbah to my wife. You don't talk that way to the Rebbitzin. We were shocked. I was shocked. I'd never seen such a thing in my life. In the middle of Beis Midrash, a slap on the face. I learned from that too. Respect your wife. Respect your wife. But these were things that I was zocheh to see with the Rosh Yeshiva. I once was driving with him. He was driving. And I had a very big problem. I don't know what it was, but I said to the Rebbe, I said, should I, what should I do? Should I stop everything and deal with this problem? Because it was so big, I felt like I just had to put everything on hold. Should I just stop my life and just deal with this problem? And the Rebbe's driving down the highway, and he says, no, that's not what we do. And he takes the wheel, and he swerves to the right, and we're over on this side. And then he straightens back up, and he swerves to the left, and we're over on this side of the highway, and people are beeping. And he said, you can go to the right and you go to the left, but you have to keep moving forward. You don't stop. You don't stop your life. You try to fix it here, try to fix it there, but you got to keep moving forward. And these were like life lessons, crazy life lessons that I was able to learn with the Rosh Yeshiva. Early on, the Rosh Yeshiva pushed me to teach. First, after months being here, go teach. Get it, start teaching Mishnah Brewer. Get a class. He did that with everyone. You were ready, you weren't, that will make you ready. He pushed us in learning, he pushed us in midos. And I'll just finish. Because something that, I always hear a few things that the Rosh Yeshiva used to say, and it's in my head because I heard so many times, and we all did. Is it possible that you're learning Torah and Har Tzion and you're not happy? How many times I've heard that? We looked at the faces. We didn't see enough smiles. He wanted more happiness here. That was the Rosh Yeshiva. And if you gave him a Baruch Hashem and it wasn't enough, he would give you the real Baruch Hashem. With koach. Baruch Hashem. And I learned that too. I learned so many things. So to me, the Rebbe's with me. I think he's with all of us. He lives in us, because you can't have experienced and be part of the yeshiva and have known the Rebbe and he's not have left something of him in you. It's impossible. We all have that, and that should carry on. It should be a Meli Chosha for all of us in the yeshiva.
הרב יוסף גולדשטיין שליטה, 4 דקות, 5 דקות, לא יותר.
Rishus, our Shishiva, the brothers, the Rabbonim. It says in the Pasuk, Vayivga b'mokoim v'yolen shom ki ba shemesh. Vayikach ma'avne amokoim v'yosem el hashoiso v'yishkov b'mokoim ha'ud. So what happened here? Rashi says, Yaakov Avinu wanted wanted to sleep, so he took the stones and he put around his head in order to protect from the choyoi sarois. Rashi says, התחילו מריבויס זו עם זו. זויס אומרס עלי יניח הצדיק ישרוי שוי, וזויס אומרס עלי יניח. The stones were fighting. Adoimim. But even the doimim wanted to do the Rotzen Hashem. מיד אסון הקדוש ברוך הוא אבן האחס, שנאמר, ויקחס האבן אשר שם לסורש שויסו. So in the beginning it says that what? ויקח מאבני המוקרים. He took a lot of stones. And then it says, Evan. Then it says Evan. Evan Achas, ויקחס האבן. So what does it mean? How did it become one stone? So we learned from here, Chazal learned from here, that the stones came together because they all wanted to do the Rotzen HaTzadik. So also the Mesilas Yeshorim says that the person, Vaish Kazeh, the person that is Kodosh, the person that is Kodosh, and Dovek Ba'elokov Tomid, V'navshel Mitaleches, Ben HaMuskolas HaMitiyos, a person that's searching and seeking for the truth, הוא נחשב כמשכון וכמקדוש וכמזבח. He's considered like a mizbeach, he's like a mishkon. וכל, and therefore, the Gemara in Ksuvas, he brings the Gemara in Ksuvas, וכל המי וידורן לתלמיד חוכם, כאילו יקריב ביקורים. Whoever brings, because he's like a mizbeach, so that you can give him a korban. So it means that all the brio, kol shar, a person's like, has a bechino, that the whole world is under the Talmid HaChachomim. The person that learns the Torah, all the world is under him. And Hashem is creating and making situations, different situations, that whatever the tzaddik wants, he makes it. So therefore all the stones that they really wanted to do the Rotzen HaTzadik, so all these stones they all wanted to have the schus. So they became one. So really, we had the schus that the Rebbe, Zecher Tzaddik V'Kodesh Livrocha, schus yogan aleinu, to get a little bit from such a giant, and a little bit to get from him, and all the children. In one way, he was very, very tough on us. Like he said the story, giving a slap. But another way, he gave us such strong love, and can't express it and understand. And who knows to give that big chunk of love that when you give the slap is sweet, because you feel it's from love. It's like you meet a friend, and you feel something, you're walking and you feel like a bang on your back, and you want to be angry, but you turn your face and you see that's my loved friend. So when he knew The Rebbe knew how to get to the core, the emes. So the whole creation, the people were like, he was mevatel himself. The Rebbe didn't think about himself like nothing. Take out the garbage. He was doing everything, in his own hands. But really, such a tzaddik that the whole world, Hashem created the whole Mount Zion, created the whole people to come. Whatever tikkunim that he needed to come, everything came under him. For siyata dishmaya, for everything. So we had the schus to be the students, the children, the schus to be. But the point that I want to say that even in one way it was hard because it was demanding, very, very demanding. But you see that all the children, everyone appreciates. And you see that because they knew that it's real true, and the emes sticks. If it's not, people will run away. But by the end, people come back. Yesterday I was there, and a student came back, and there was another student who came back, and they come back and says, okay, one word, one word the Rebbe said, and then it changed his life. Whatever he's holding, the student, because the emes in one way was very like, the Rebbe was strong, but the other way, he knew how to balance it, the tremendous, humongous love and care that he gave, and in which all the midas is through the learning, the love, that he really loved the children, loved the students, and were able to have the patience to review it again and again, the love and care, remember, you can't explain what you love, to explain it how we felt it. And the amazing thing is that I felt, and the students, and the children, that the Rebbe loved them the most. And everyone, the Rebbe was a professional. He knew how to give the love to everyone and the care. And through that, to give the real emes, the message of Achvar HaTorah, the message of loving Hashem, the Veikus B'Kadosh Baruch Hu, and should be made tzeshem, should have the schus to know to say the emes, not to be afraid, and to try to imitate the emes of the love together.
הרב יוסף פונקשטיין.
It's hard for me to speak after all these great friends of mine. Somebody they had me slow, but I'll do my best. Somebody mentioned just now, well, the Rebbe never, I wasn't going to talk about this, but someone mentioned that the Rebbe said, my boys don't work. So I think maybe I was one of the prime examples of the Rebbe enforcing that. I came with a wife and 4 kids here to the yeshiva. No money, a professional chef. And how do you live? How do you support your children, your family, your growing family? How do you do it? Here and there I got a job. Whenever the Rebbe heard I'm working, he said, how much are they paying you? I told him, he said, hey, I'll give you the same, quit. And that happened at least twice that I remember specifically. He kept me in Torah, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. My brother, my younger brother, he says, I'm not good. He says, you could have been a restaurateur. You could have 2 or 3 restaurants. You decided not to. It's your business. Don't ask me for anything. He's not that bad. No, not really. But so I just wanted to say a couple of little things here. People may not remember, but I came as also besides the chef, I was a professional photographer and cinematographer, and as such, I had very close access to the Rebbe, because I was under the chuppah for many chasanas with him when he with the chassan and the kala, and I personally experienced his gadlus as he explained to the people what it is to get married and what it is for 2 separate people to be together. I can't remember what he said exactly here and there, but I experienced each time it was there, whoa, and each time it was different according to the people who were getting married. What was page 2 here? Okay. Someone was talking about driving, so I was driving. In those days, I had a little Audi 50, and one time we were driving through the Haisha, and the Rebbe says, I was driving, the Rebbe says, pass that car. And I thought to myself, do I have to do a kibbutz or can I pass him a little bit later? I didn't know. The Rebbe said, pass that car. It didn't look so safe to me. And I passed him anyways, but I don't know if I did the right thing. The Rabbi, like everybody said, he was like a father to a lot of people. He was mamish really like a father to me. The second year that I was there with teshuva and came to the yeshiva, my father was nifter, and he became an image. He became a little bit distant, but I became a loving father and not afraid to tell me directly, straighten out. I won't finish the other word. Straighten out. There was no one like the Rabbi. I don't think there'll ever be anybody like the Rabbi again. And I guess we'll just have to wait for the Gula that we united. He was, and one more thing, he was an anchor for me. I know anchor, that was a word you use quite often. Anchor for me has a special meaning because people know my stories, I was in a boat in the Red Sea for a month. And anchoring was a big job. The small boat, but still. You try and anchor in the middle of the Red Sea with the winds blowing. So I knew what an anchor was, and it very much affected me. You should all see him soon.
הרב יצחק פלום שליטה.
When I first came to the yeshiva, the person who brought me took me to the Rabbi, the Rosh Yeshiva, Alav Shalom, and he was reading a newspaper at the entrance to Kever David. So he talked to me a little bit, asked me my name, and he gave me a kiss, and gave me a hug. I want to relate a little story of what happened. I was in the yeshiva about a year, and the Rebbe made me a netzi, a supervisor in, at that time, was called the Holocaust Museum, opposite Kevedal. And I remember I was at the end of the day, I was completely exhausted. I don't think I ate well that day, and I came into the base of Midrash to learn a little bit, and there was a pile of debris. I don't remember if it was in the courtyard or outside the wall. The Rebbe asked me, I would like you to go, Yitzchak, I would like you to go out there and help the driver to pile that debris on the truck. Now this debris was mud, rocks, and very high. And I said to the Rosh Yeshiva, I said, Rebbe, you know, I don't have the strength. I can't do it. I can't hardly move. So I sat down in the base of Midrash. The Rebbe turned around. He walked out the door. And about 15 minutes later, the door opened. I got up. I literally, at first, did not recognize the Rebbe. His face was covered with mud, completely black. I only saw his eyes. His frock and his pants were covered with mud. the Rebbe went in my place to help this man. In the middle of the mud, without any reservations. I knew that the Rebbe loved me. And I don't have to say anymore because all the Talmidim expressed their experiences of the godless of the Rosh Yeshiva, Zichrono Lebracha, and that, what he gave over to his Talmidim, we see that it spread to his children, and it should spread for many more generations.
הרב מוישה הרצברג שליטה.
Thank you, Rabbi Yitzchak, to give me the opportunity to speak. I was in the yeshiva 43 years ago. I was a young guy and I came to the kotel and I was, I don't remember if I was believing in Hashem anymore after the bar mitzvah, I don't know. I was searching for some truth and I was searching also for something to smoke. I asked somebody, do you know where can I get some smoke? So there's a place over there at Zion, you know. So I came here and I stayed a few years and Baruch Hashem. And I was, traveling in Israel, tourist and, not, I was keeping Shabbos and everything, but I was, I was with the French guys over there, Sadine, all the people, and it was very nice. And the Rebbe, I was coming sometimes, I have to be in the Beis HaMidrash sometimes, you cannot stay in the yeshiva, years and months and years. You don't learn so much. Sometimes I would go in Shir Gemara or something. The Rebbe came and slapped me in the back. He said, "Are you learning Torah? It's very good, beautiful. That's all." And he said, "I want to show you the deepness of the Torah." All the time he told me this. I want to show you the deepness of the Torah. That's all. I left the yeshiva, I went to Hasidut, to Breslov yesterday. Made a family, many years passed. After many years I got a long story and Baruch Hashem, my family and kids and grandkids. And I was living in Tel Aviv after all kinds of things happened and I was working, Mashgiach Kashrus, okay, I'm learning sometimes, Daf Yomi coming, but not really learning. I always knew the yeshiva that they learn Torah, the deepness of the Torah. It was war. He didn't speak to me so much, but it stays all the time, Birkas Shmuel, Rabbi Yitzchak Kampenton. I kept those books. I know that's the truth. That's the real thing, But I was doing, And after many years, I had some kind of problems, and I said, "There's something wrong. There's something doesn't work." 6 years ago, and I felt I have to learn Torah. That came the time. I'm already grandfather. But I have to learn Torah. Where do I learn Torah? HaRav was living in Tel Aviv. So I started to come 6 years ago. And I didn't remember the Yartzeit of the Rabbi. I came to the first time, I drive from Tel Aviv on the highway, driving 5 o'clock at night, morning. I drive, and I come to Zion, I see tables, big seudah. I said, "What's happening?" So you don't know, it's the Yartzeit of the Rebbe, best history. 6 years ago, and Baruch Hashem, 6 years I learned in yeshiva, the shiur of Rabbi Yitzchak, and I tell you, I wanted to tell to the Bachurim that comes here, that passed by, like I was passing by, that it's the same thing, it's the same Artzion right now with the children of the Rebbe, with the Talmidim, it's the same thing. It's the same Artzion. I saw a guy with the paro, how do you say, on the back. So I told Rav Shmuel Pia, I told him, that's Artzion, it's still Artzion. The same thing. So we hope we're gonna, with the Ruach of the Rebbe, and the Ruach of Rav Yitzchak, and all the sons, and all the Talmidim, that we keep on going and make another Talmidim, all these guys with the parrot and this and that, and jeans and smoking, and they continue, they give them an opportunity to be in Torah.
Amen. Rabbi HaGaon Goldstein Shliach.
Yeshua Rosh Yeshiva, Yeshua Rabbi Rabbi Yisrael, Yeshua the Talmidim. Baruch Hashem, so many things said about my father, the Rabbi, and me as the youngest in the family. I always enjoyed to hear because I saw my father in different stages of life. There's Mishnah Rishoina and Mishnah Achoina. And I definitely saw my father in a different ways in different years. In a sense, he was older, but God's scaling, God the Rabbi, Machti. Maybe he's more lenient in certain things. Not when I heard him when he was younger, he was much more strict. But I was thinking, what could I speak, especially to describe a giant Onak Va'anokim? It's not very hard, and you can't. So one nakuda that I never understood, it was very hard to understand, which I understood that the older you get, the more you understand better. And I also found a Tana de Messiah with some Salat with this Yisoid, so I figured I want to share with you. My father was used to say, everybody knows that, and it came out in different ways. I can't be satisfied till I push all my strength till then. I'm sure everybody heard it. And he used to come learning, and every avodah is in midos, in musa, in Torah, everything. To wake us up in the morning. What do you hear? Mishpacha. Wake us up 4 a.m. The whole family, Zokin and Cotton, babies, wake up Shabbos. You have to do Shtav Chatago. Used to wake us up Vasikin, 3 a.m. Did things that we cannot do to our children. It's Hashem, but things that it's not unheard of. Many, many things, many areas. So what's the change? And many times I was like, in my mind when I was young, I said, should be happy with sitting and learning, Baruch Hashem, good kids, it's never enough. What's going on? When is the point? Where's the bar? It's constantly raising up, more and more and more. The lonely come and it was as kids, like Lamashah. I remember Shabbos. Never ever you let me play in Shabbos in the afternoon. Tamid, let us first. Remember, and then everything's a kol hayam mishuneh. Always was different than everybody. What's going on? I was a social boy. I liked it to social. And never could be my kids. Never. My friends, I'm saying. Only in the time of school that you had time. Otherwise, once you hit after school, I'm like kivyachol, right? In a jail, until the next day. Unless you had an excuse, you're learning Torah, Chavusas, or that, right?
I used to say, I go to the Masmidim.
He used to say, go to the Masmidim, I used to play. or like one day, Rabbi Yosef, we I was in the bathroom. I was in the story. Stories everybody likes. But like we used to take the house before he came back from yeshiva. We used to put all the tables and chairs aside. We used to play soccer. Then we heard the car. It was an old car when he used to close it. And a second, all the tables and chairs back in place. And sure enough, we opened the Gemara. Yeah. And then he used to say, "Oh, you're learning so good." I'm sure he knew what we did. And Zayat Tamid, in many ways, different ways, it was that this mahalach, but it bothered me what's going on. You know, as you get older, understand, you always push us more and more. So, two, actually, it was not my fault, is once I was my Rosh Yeshiva, Mishil, Shlita Slavotska Yeshiva, and he told me this is Soid once, and then I think, wow, this is the Rabbi and my father. Yeshiva spoke about it a few times in Mishil. He brought the Mitzvah Salant in the Michtovim. In the Michtav, Yud okay, I'm not going to say the whole thing, just say the point that we have to finish. The Mitzvah Salant speaks about the Indian, and Michtav Yud speaks about the Indian, that a person has to control his seichel and his koiches hanefesh. It's one of the most important Michtovim of Salant. I'm sure Rabbi Miller is here. He knows it's one of the Yesodis in Israel. And the reason I'm saying it because it's even in Mishahil, which is the standard yeshiva is, he spoke it many times and he put it very thick, as they said, this idea, and which is, you'll see in a minute, it blows your mind, where the Rabbi came from. And I'm sure you knew it. So he speaks about a person has to be mashlit his seichel and his koiches hanefesh. And he says there's two ways, there's two halakim. Very famous, su merah v'asei tov. There's one way when a person goes and his koivish is yetzer, he controls himself to do bad, mostly in the diet, right? You hold yourself not to eat. I'm not going to eat that piece of cake, that ice cream, right? Also learning, you're holding yourself not to speak dvarim b'teilim, not to be bekas, etc. And then you have the other side is the chelik of asei tov is you metakin the yetzer. You change yourself, that you become a Adam HaShalom, that you teva, you mahus, you koiches hanefesh become to do only good. And the Rebbe writes that the second chelik is much harder. Of course, to hold yourself as, and he goes weiter on the Gayas, I'm not going to say the whole Yesodis, and then he writes something that this is the Nikud I wanted to bring out to share, and I felt that we defined my father. And if someone said, you think this guy is mamish, if you say this concept, people today will not, you say you're not, today everything is with silk gloves, right? You say this, they'll throw you out, they won't let you speak any public speaking. It says like this, Ubazois Teda, Ki Adam Le'amal Yulod, Lil Choy Milchemes Mitzvah. He describes it that we like in a war, not some a war, a Milchemes Mitzvah. Milchemes Mitzvah. If you go to Gaza, if they think it's a mitzvah, we're not getting to the point. Right? This is ready to die. Milchemes Mitzvah. V'choyva olav yisyageya ba'avodas Hashem. You have an obligation to be yageya, to exhort yourself. Yigiyah ba'avodas Hashem. And this is the vote. Lo rak lishmo mashetivoy manichoy me'atzmo. Umashu k'tzas kveidus lehazniach. Well, translate. He says most people, what they do avodas Hashem is what the teva allows them. Which means a guy could sit and learn 3 hours, 4 hours of first Seder. Givaldi, right? I'm a masvid, no? Other people play, I'm learning. But if that's your teva, and you didn't break the teva, and you didn't, you get otherwise, look what he writes. Ubazeh odom, she'ohev es Hashem rak lefi hateva, yikore chalilo poi lekol. Imagine I come to yeshiva, and people are masmidim, I say, Rabbi say, Rabbi, you all poi, your mamish, kimat ha'pikol. He writes it. I just heard to Marosh Yeshiva in Slavotka. He the one said it in Yeshiva. V'kasher lo yitem shum yigir. If you're going to go with your teva wa'achem, your nature, what you were born with, v'yishmo mashekol atoyva kol ha'mitzvos kol tayay mitzvos mashein olav oil. Oil means your own personal, individual teva, your nature, what Hashem designed your own DNA, your own God. Who האדם ויעשה רק מה שדיברו חופץ ולא יעשה שום דבר נגד רצון לבבי. It says not only that he's a פרק אוהל, הוא גם עולו לכל העבירה שבתורה, כיוון שאינו עובר על הרגל ועל טיב. And then he goes weiter, I have to finish by this. Here's my yichud. So here's the Yisrael of himself. If a person doesn't push himself with all the strength till the end, he's considered a pyrek oil. Chap what a yiras oil is like. Yoshiva said yiro primis. That was the generator. That was the what pushed him. He understood if I'm not pushing myself, it's not like I thought all the years. Abba, what's the big deal? Okay, I'm learning. What do you want? Test me. I know the Gemara. I know the Ketzoris. I know the Tzivis. If you don't do it, you're a pyrek oil. And if you don't do it, you're eventually going to be over and call a Torah kul. That's in one word what he was. And this is something we have to emulate, we have to look forward to do. And he gave it to us, he was a dugma yishis. And Ma'asem shel tzadikim, right? The Ikar Ma'asem, what's the whole idea of eulogy of the Hespeidim is to emulate this, not especially here in the Mokum, his Mokum. We have to push on. And today, I think this voice is not sound, you don't hear too much. Because people say, the door is different door, a cult of effect. But we have to know. We have to know this. Like they said, if you're not, if you're not pushed to become a general like my father, you're not going to become a good soul. And we have to know to push yourself. And when you, there's a nice story once I just heard from a guy that heard from the Kloisenberg Rebbe. Kloisenberg Rebbe, when he was in Europe, he was a Rebbe also, a Rebbe, and he used to keep coming talking to Kloisenberg. And to his shir, he had a lot of svarim. So always he used to ask the Gabon to stop it because he had no koyach. And then, this was in the time years ago, a guy told me, if I heard it from him, and he says, but when we went to the Holocaust, they made him carry, they took the Rabbanim first, and in Mevazim, they made him take bricks, carry it up and down. He said, then I saw that I do have strength. Before that, I couldn't take my own Gemara. He was so schwach. He was a skinny guy, pickled guy. This is the ball. You can't be satisfied till you push yourself with all your strength, and then you see you have Givaldic purpose, and that's what it says.
Okay, the time is up, but we have another 15 minutes. So I want to call 3 more rabbis, and then we're going to have Mincha. We'll go up to the cave and come back. We're going to have a siyum and a sauda downstairs. And a few guys, which I see I couldn't push them in, it's not enough time, which is Rabbi Leo Silver, Rabbi Yoshua Graham, and maybe also David Schwartz. I think he also told to speak. So you're not going to be able to speak now, we're going to speak in the old Chadaroch, downstairs. Catchment Center. Generation. So we're going to have 3 rabbis, and please put it into 1:35. We call first Rabbi Rubenstein, Rabbi Shepard after that, and the last one, Rabbi Chovi for me, my father-in-law, Rabbi Shata Herman. So, Rabbi Rubenstein.
Shalom Aleichem, everyone. I didn't really expect to speak, so I will try to keep. My brother Shalom was very close to the Rosh Yeshiva. My brother used to tell us, try to speak in 2 minutes. So if I have 5, do it in 3. I was here in '69. We were talking, listening to the stories that Rosh Yeshiva had a certain thing. He said, no one gets thrown out, at least back then, and he accepted everyone. So that was a very important nekuda of the Rosh Yeshiva. The other thing is that, as you said, a lot of us came, and some of us had no money, so I worked in the kitchen, and I learned a lot about Mishnah Berurah and kashrus and everything else. So that was one way to have limud Torah while you were in the yeshiva. I wanted to share with you with the Rav and the Rebbetzin. We were excited to have them in America many times. Stayed by our home. We would go and collect money. We try to do our best. And one of the things that the Rosh Yeshiva would always do with the Rebbetzin, they were up bright and early in the morning. They had a whole itinerary where they were going to go. and the Rebbitzin was ready. She had the whole list, and the Rav only wanted to sit and talk Torah. So wherever he went, he said, I wanted to go over a little Torah with you. He didn't care about money. The Rebbitzins looking at him, what's going on over here? When are you going to ask him for some money? And as it's, I'm going to talk Yiddish, but he sits, and he always told me talking Yiddish. Learn Torah, that Torah, based on Levi. Allemal, Welt Nora, and Torah. So being in the yeshiva was one thing, but having the Rosh Yeshiva and the Rebbe in the house was another. Just a few nekudas of what he taught us. Number one, he said, whenever you have guests over, he said, sing zmiras that they know. Now we all know this, all the time you get chazanim, they come in, you sing a niggin, no one knows the niggin. He said, if you want them to feel the ruach of Shabbos, sing a nigunim that they know. The other thing he said that when it came to Pesach, not like over here, we had 2 storm in America, right? So we'd say, the first night is only your mishpacha. The second night, you can have everybody that you want over in your house. The last time that my brother and I was here. We were in that room for his nifter. And he sat with us. And he spoke with us and he learned in Torah. But when I was here in 1969, when I left, he said to me 2 things. And how are we doing? We got another minute, maybe. He said, number one, he was very stark. He said, you really don't know anything, Rubenstein. He told me. His face garnished. He said, but when you leave here, you will begin to understand things. He told me 2 things. Number one, you don't learn one day, you lose 2. Number 2, you will become a psychologist. I didn't ask him why. He said, they're not enough from psychologists. That's what you're going to do. So when I went back to America, that's what I remember. 1 day is 2, and then I went, learned part-time, and then went to college. I don't know how big that is today. So with that, remember the Rav that he was a powerful hashpah on everyone, and he fought always hard. We always heard about HaRav the fight to keep HaRav, and I'll conclude with this. He was offered, correct me if I'm wrong, $15 million. This was way back. Help me out. $15 million to give up HaRav, and he said, I will not take a penny. With that, it should be a mitzvah for us, for everyone else. We should continue to be taken with wherever we go. Good night.
הרב יעקב שפר צבי.
Lord Hashem, I'll be very quick. I just want to say 2 points. One, that when I was learning in the yeshiva, many times I had like a tremendous like all kinds of frustration of why the Rabbi is doing that, why this is the seder, why we learning the way we're learning, all kinds of questions that it was like many times it was very difficult for me, and many times I saw like in the long run after years I understood like this is the reason for this is the reason for that, this is really the way to accomplish this, and as the time passed by, every time I see more and more, I understand the amkus of the chokhmah of the Rabbi Zatzal, how he was managing and how he like the way that he was mechanech all of the yeshiva. And Lemaise, for me personally, like even it seems like for some people they look on what I'm doing now that as if it's something that is not connected to the yeshiva, but really the MS is that all what I'm doing now is really a hamshech of what the Rebbe told me to do. That for me that's the way I see that. Like the first siddur that I did, it was like the Rebbe asked me if I can produce it. I said Bezrat Hashem, and I started to work on the siddurim and so on. All of the thing of like making like videos on the internet. That was also like the starting point was also from the Rebbe. I'll just say that in a short story, that in the time that he was giving the shiurim in Kever David in Friday, so there was someone that came in to Kever David, and he was kind of like, like the tourists, they come with the camera. So for me, I like automatically I was putting my head down. I didn't want I was a buffer. I didn't want anyone to take a picture of me. And the Rabbi told me, why are you putting your head down? Why you don't want them to take a picture of you? I said, I don't want my picture to go all around the world. He said, why? Maybe somebody will see your face and it will give him like a raw tshuva. Maybe someone will do tshuva because of that. Maybe somebody will come to the yeshiva because they see your face somewhere. I said, oh, that's like, okay, fine. I did this switch and Baruch Hashem since then, Baruch Hashem. So like I'm just saying that like as the years goes by, like more and more I see that like basically like all the foundations that I got in the yeshiva and with the Rabbi, it's things that stays and grow and ripes like fruits that it takes them like sometimes like who knows how many years to ripe until you can enjoy the sweetness of those fruits, but it's happening. And I like within that I want to say like a message for the Bachurim that are learning our yeshiva. I think most of the people here are like the Rabbanim and the previous students. But anyhow, like every moment that a person is in the yeshiva and is really embracing and engaging in the learning of the learning of the yeshiva, even though he doesn't see like why right now we need to do that, why it should be in this way, but when years goes by, you can enjoy those fruits and it's priceless. Like it's the time that whoever is now in the Beit Midrash in the learning, Baruch Hashem, take it and you never know what's going to be tomorrow. Like as much as you can squeeze yourself and get more juice of yourself in the learning, in the Torah, in the yeshiva. So Baruch Hashem, good for you. And one last point that I had like a personal experience that for me it was very strong. That I don't know what happened there, but one time I went out of the Beit Midrash to think I went to the bathroom or whatever, and the Rosh Yeshiva came out from the Martef HaShoah and he looked at me, and I don't know what happened in that moment, but he looked at me and I was like what did I do wrong? It was like kind of a feeling of ira, of like Mora Rabchake Mora Shammai. It was mamash like cheshbon nefesh, like what's going on? Like why is looking at me like this way? And it gave me such a like experience of what does it mean ira from like. It was one moment, but I think B'ezrat Hashem I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And it was, I don't know, if it was something that he did or it was just from Hashem in that moment, but anyhow it was very, very strong. So B'ezrat Hashem, I want to say thank you for the Rosh Yeshiva Zasal and for the Rosh Yeshiva Shlita, and B'ezrat Hashem, bracha for all of us that will continue the inheritance of the learning of the Rosh Yeshiva B'ezrat Hashem and grow with it and have fruits and perot and perei perot B'ezrat Hashem. Amen. Amen.
Rav Shabtai Yerman Shlita.
Kavod, everybody. Bruchim Havaim to everybody who's come to give kavod to the late Rebbe. And it's a big kavod for everybody here themselves to be privileged to be on this occasion. And most of the stories that we've heard being related here today involve things that people experienced with the Rebbe 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 40 years ago. I have an interesting relationship in that every week I actually have a dream about the Rebbe. This goes back many, many, many years ago. And we dream about all kinds of things associated with the yeshiva, being the current boys, building out siyum, learning. The interesting thing in terms of the learning, I remember for some reason the Rebbe got me interested in learning Mishlei 50 years ago. Now, why he did this, I don't know, but he was always encouraging me to learn Mishlei. So asking questions about what I was learning, whatever. Anyway, along these lines, I just happen to have a little thing in my pocket here that, from, believe it or not, Mishlei, and something that relates very much to the Rebbe. It says in Mishlei, Perik Yud Pesukim Zayin V'Chet, it says like this: Zecher Tzadik Levracha V'Shem Rishoim Yirkav Chacham Leid Yikach Mitzvot V'Evel Sotayim Yelaveh. So, right, here we're talking about Zecher Tzadik Levracha and about the Chacham Leid. And I just wanted to mention, I mean, there's many Meforshim, but I want to mention a few instances where the Meforshim deal with this, and that it relates very much to the character of our late Rebbe. First of all, Rashi says, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, Hamaskir Tzadik Livracho. Just mentioning the memories of a tzaddik is a blessing for him. And just listening to everybody here recounting their experiences with the Rebbe, you see the enormous blessings that were given to the Rebbe from the experience of each and every person, and the blessings they got from the Rebbe. What about the Shem Yishayim Yirkav? What's Rikavom? Those who were shying, what about their name? It says Rikavom, rotting away, will occur and will be mentioned in their name. She'en Adam Chafetz Laskir Shmo, because nobody really wants to mention the name of a Rasha. And just becomes forgotten altogether. You see, of course, how the Rebbe was an enormous example. Everybody's got these tremendous memories for him, and how his name remains alive. Now, the Mitzudat David, this will see a few little things. He says, Tzedek, Zecher Tzadik, Zikaron HaTzadik in Bracha. Just the memory of a tzaddik is in itself a blessing. Ki b'chol eit yizkeru bo yizratim. Just mentioning a memory of this tzaddik is a blessing for him and a blessing for everybody. And what about the person who's a no good guy? What about Yirkav? Since it's not the desire of any people to remember him, his name becomes forgotten anyway. You see that? Not the story here, fortunately enough. We're on the good side of things. What about Yikach Mitzvot? Kacham B'chol Eit V'lo Yachder. He takes, here's the Rebbe, Yikach Mitzvot. He took mitzvahs at every opportunity and never stopped taking mitzvahs. Chacham Lev Yikach Mitzvot. What's a wonderful example of this from the Torah? And this always occurs to me when I think about the Rebbe. It says Moshe Rabbeinu. What about Moshe Rabbeinu? And Rebbe was like Moshe Rabbeinu for us in our generation. Moshe Rabbeinu, when Kol Yisrael were skinned with Bizat Mitzrayim, they were grabbing and robbing and destroying everything in Mitzrayim. What was Moshe doing? Hu haya osek b'mitzvot. He was busy with mitzvot. Shneimar in Shmos Yud Gimel Yutet. ויקח משה את עצמות יוסף עמו. We see that Moshe Rabbeinu, he was interested in not plundering Egypt. He was interested in being somebody who took care of Atzmot Yosef. And for us, the Rebbe has been very much a model of a Moshe Rabbeinu of our generation. And I'd like to give a blessing to everybody, to my son-in-law, Yitzchak, to my daughter, Shoshana, the Rebbetzin, and to all my friends here, that we should have the merit to be rejoining the Rebbe, the time of the rebuilding of Har Zion, the base of Mikdash, and the time of Biyat HaMashiach. Let us say Amen. Amen.
Just want to mention two things. First of all, I want to ask forgiveness. I'm going to tell me that I didn't ask him to speak now because I made a cheshbon of this year. We'll let the younger Talmidim to speak. I saw Rabbi Kamon. I don't know if he's here still. And then maybe next year, or if we have a siyum, so he can speak downstairs, and others. Anyhow, that's one thing. Number two is, I want to thank my wife, Rebbetzin Shoshana Goldstein, that she really holds the yeshiva in many, many ways. A lot of outside work that people don't see in the Besmedrash, hold the yeshiva financially, and many, many things that she's doing for the yeshiva the Maisa to be run and to exist. That's a Mitzias. You don't know because she doesn't vow like years ago. The Rebbe used to have a pocketbook, everything was there. She has an office. And the Maisa, the yeshiva stands on her, so she'll be a bracha of her for all her requests should come true. So we're going to daven mincha, Bezrat Hashem. Right after that, we're going to go to the cave. Also Rabbi Miller. Now, in my mind was to ask you to speak. But you spoke ever before? Yeah, what? Right now. Good. Mina Shammai. Good. I saw it and I said, let me see.
Wow.
The Kiva Eger said a beautiful shot about Moshe Rabbeinu. When he came down from Har Sinai, he had a light shining out of his face, private order. And in fact, he put a mask on his face. So, the question, what is the purpose of the mask? And the answer that the Kiva gives, when he was at Har Sinai, he saw the Rachamim of Hashem to such a degree that the Rachamim is etched and penetrated his face, his countenance. And he was so full of Rachamim that when he came down from Har Sinai, he was chashash that maybe people would see the Rachamim and they might listen to him. So that's why he had to cover his face with the mask. And we see the same thing by the Rebbe. The Rebbe wore a mask, and the mask was a very tough mask. But behind the mask was a very soft and sweet man, full of rachamim. And another story I wanted to share is that Diaspora Yeshiva said that what's a Rav? A Rav is somebody that the tzibur wants to push away. They want to get rid of him. But on the other hand, if they do push him away, he's not a man. So I remember the Rebbe explained it one time. In order the Rebbe could look into this and understand the message over here. Yes, the Rebbe has to be tough to the point that the tzibur will want to get rid of him. On the other hand, if they do get rid of him, he's not a man. So what does that mean, he's not a man? The Rebbe explained it very beautifully. He doesn't have the sweetness of the Torah, doesn't convey the sweetness of the Torah, doesn't make it sweet for people, he's not a man. So therefore, if they want to push him out because he's tough, but on the other hand, if he makes the Torah sweet and makes it scrumptious and delicious and mitzvahs, so then they're going to keep him. That's what the Rebbe, he had the balance. I remember one time when my parents came, the Rebbe was in his office, and he told them that on Har Zion, David Melech put together the kelim for the Beis Hamikdash. And he said, same thing, we're putting over here together all the parts of the neshamas. We're building the neshamas. And last night, we had a siyum in Beit Shemesh. And we didn't, when they made the date for the siyum, they didn't realize it was going to coincide with the rest of the river. But all the Hebrew was there, all the Talmidim from the children of the Talmidim. And it was a beautiful siyum. It so coincided exactly with the rest of the river. So, Baruch Hashem, I don't want to marich, time is getting late, but everybody should bless the Rebbe and appreciate the Rebbe. And the Rebbe changed our lives. He was the greatest influence in my life, was the Rebbetzin. And I'm sure for all of us, it was a life-changing factor in our life. And the Rebbe should be blessed. And his neshama should have an aliyah for that Hashem.
בחנניה בן הקשוי מרוץ הקדוש ברוך הוא לצד ישראל לפיתו אימא שלמה לחובץ המארץ ולא בידים סיימו המסכת עבודת זרה. So the Gemara says a story. Yodamar Yudo Bati Bartubio Amuyas Bekamei Deshuvu Malka. The Gemara before us talks about how you machshir a knife that Kohen used. So the Gemara says a story that Mar Yehuda and Bati, both of them came, Kamei the Shmuel Malka, front of Shmuel Malka. Shmuel Malka was the king of Persia. He was a good king. He honored Talmidei Chachamim. Aisul Kamei Esroiko. They brought a front of Shmuel Malka and Esroiko. He took a piece, he ate, and he gave another piece to Bati Batuvi with a knife of coin. Then he took the knife and he stuck it into the ground 10 times. He cut a piece, he gave it to Mar Yehuda. I'm not a Jew, that only him you will stick the knife 10 times in the ground. Omalei told him, I know about Mar Yehuda, I know Mar Yehuda is a Talmid Chacham, it's a tzaddik, and he keeps Torah mitzvahs, so I take care of him. You, I don't know. Some other people say, what we did last night, the Persians used to say to send women to the guests, and Bartuvia received and Rabbi didn't. He said, you go with women. What do you want? What do you expect me to do? Think you care about mitzvahs? That's why I didn't stick it to the ground. You see from here, if you want to use a knife of akum, you have to stick in the ground 10 times, which type of ground? I want to say we're finishing this Masechet Nishmas of Imoini and Mordechai ben Moshe, and one of the special things that I did, Davar Miyuchad, Shasiti Chazor Yavapami, and we did it 4 times. So it gives more power to the Masechet, and that's the right way to learn. I try to push the whole yeshiva to learn every daf 4 times. We made a special program in Nishmas. My mother, everybody should learn when they learn 4 times, review 4 times, and just have a kiyum in the learning. It's a way of like, you have libur, you have agoro. One of the things is you have also 10 times by a knife. And I have another snow, but we have another siyum by myself. כן. לא, צריך 10 מעלות. זה גם ההלכה. תפסק להלכה.
אומר רבי יהושע מקובל, אני מרבי יוחנן זכאי ששמע מרבוי, הלוך אל מוישה מסיני, שאין אליהו הנביא, בא לטמא ולטהר, להרחיק ולקרב, אלא לרחק המקורבים בזרוע, הכוונה לכהונה, או לכלל ישראל ממזרים, ולקרב המורחקים בזרוע. משפחת די סגורים בו, אז לקרב כמי שהעיפו אותם לכלולה כי שנאו אותם בזרוע, אז אליהו הנביא יקרב אותם בזרוע. משפחת בצריף הייתה בעבר הלב נפתה בן ציון בזרוע, ועוד אחרת הייתה שם נפתה בן ציון בזרוע. כגון אלו, אליהו בא לטמא ולטהר, ולרחק ולקרב. רבי אומר, לקרב, אבל לא לרחק. למה? כיוון שנטמאו, נטמאו. רבי שמעון אומר להשוות המחלוקת. הוא בא לפתור את כל המחלוקות בדרך כלל. אנחנו אומרים, לא לרחק ולא לקרב, אלא לעשות שלום בעולם. שכמה בנר המלכי שולח אחר, סליהו הנביא והשיב לב אבוי סל בונים ולב בונים מה יבוא
אדון הולוך, עשוי מספויל, סיר לסדר, מה קמאת פה? זרוי מועד, לא שמזיקים שלנו. נשמע סנמורכה במושך. אדון הולוך מסך ספויל, סיר מסך ולזור. אדון ולזור ולזור, דעת הולוך מסך ולזור ולזור הולוך, לא נידה שמילוך, מסך ולזור, לא נידה שמילוך, לא בעם עזור ועד עושה. אדון הולוך מסך ולזור ואדון הולוך. הלוך, דעת הולוך מסך ולזור ולזור הולוך. דין שמילוך, מסר לזור, דין שמילוך, לא מעמדנו ולדוסה. יהי רוצוי. אחד האחרון, עד הלוך מסר לזור ועד המלוך, דייתו ללוך מסר לזור ועד המלוך, דין שמילוך, מסר לזור, דין שמילוך, לא מעמדנו ולדוסה. יהי רוצוי לפניך לידו אלינו לעבוסים. שתהא פרוסך ומנוסי כל הזה ותיבון עולמו. חנינו בפופו, רוני בפופו, נחו בפופו, אחוי בפופו, בוני בפופו, גאטרו בפופו, רוני בפופו, סרוחו בפופו, עדה בפופו, דור בפופו. יבנו עלינו אלינו דברי שרוצנו בפנינו, תפנינו יסמכו בית ישראל, ונהיה כולנו אנחנו לצאצאים, וצאצאי עמכו בית ישראל כולנו יודעים שמחו, ולם זה עושו ומאוי בית תחתינו וצאצאו כתינו אלו גילי, גילי תמיד החוקר למען לא יבוש, לא אלו מוי, תשכח כבודו נגרום בכנסון, ברוך אתה עלינו לתת חוקר אמן, 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 סלו רעם. אם אנחנו נבוא עלינו אלינו לערוסים, סעת תחויינו יש למצבנו, תוך תהיינו של חופש. שאנו משקיעים, אנו משקיעים לבטאים משקיעים חוקרים. אנו מאמנים, אנו מאמנים את המסחר, ואמנים את המסחר. אנו רוצים ולבוסים. אנו רוצים לכאן אחור, רוצים ולשחש. נאמר, ואת אלוהים תורידנו ולשחש, עד ששום ילימו, וליחצו ימי ולפתחו. יוצאו ולמען לא אליי, בשם, שעזרתם יסיים הסלע ולצורך, תאפרנו זרבים הסלע ולצורך אחרים, וסיימו לכאן, תשמעו לעצות ולקיים, לזכורים ותמוסות ולעמו, כל הדבר יעברו יותר לכחון יונדי, לזק לשמות טוב ושעת טוב מפיס ניסק, וזרע אמצעי, אדולו, יסקאינדי, ניסלת חותן כל לכו, תשמעו עליך, כדי שתסביכו, ויחו אליך יזוכו לבחי, ולכו גינוס ולשמאל לשלום בaway, עלי תמודנו ובשלום. כדי יומיסקדי, שדי לעבור. And I have here my brother-in-law, which I think somehow is Rabbi Noah Nazer. I want to ask some words of Torah from him, and he may walk and people should continue to eat, and then we have a short prayer here. What else is going home?
Rosh Yeshiva, and all the Rabbi, and all the Talmud, and all the families. We're here for a very special remembrance of an amazing phenomenon that Hashem brought into the world with beautiful Florida, with a $10,000 loan to 6 children, absolutely desolate, nothing but ruins and no floors, no electricity, no sewers, the noose, and drinking and just garbage, no one cared about the place. He told his rabbis in the States he's going to make Yeshiva Toras for everyone. I'm going to David of Melech. Before then, before the 67 war then, Israel and Jordan facing each other, and no man's land in the cave of David. Who could come and do such a thing? Who could come to Israel at that time, not only to collect weapons to fight the British, and decided that he couldn't go in that derrick. He wasn't able to go in the derrick army. He couldn't do that. He had to go into education. That's what the Rebbe said. And how could Hashem pick a better person or more person to stay? How could the place stay where it stayed for 60 years for people to come from all over the world? Now, more than half of the Haredi people in the world are baal Jews. But what happened here at HaRav that everyone thought it was a big joke? And it was a good thing. It's a good thing to be a joke. Because what happens, the Yitzhahara doesn't work so hard. The Yitzhahara says, okay, so they're playing around over here. It's just foolishness. It's too big a hill to get over. They can never get over the hill with these kind of people. But who came out of this place? All the people that came out of this place. The whole world now is changing. Amazing. The whole world is changing. Thousands of yeshivas over 60 years. Millions of people. Millions affected by one man of Russia. But we have to remember that we're standing on the shoulders of the Rebbe. I came in here 26 years ago, no one knew me from nowhere. And the Rebbe said, give up here at census. I've stayed ever since. And I've seen dozens and dozens and dozens of people. Apartments, people married, families, put it in kollel. We took care of all their pieces of parts. He'd sit in his sheer room and evaluate the new boys that came in while he was going through his field was the next level. 67 all different portions of papers all over the table. All right. And most of the boys, maybe except one rabbi, didn't even know what he was talking about. Just trying to find the things that he looked for. Evaluate the boys and decide exactly what they needed. And he did that to everyone. He spent extra money, extra time. He had to put a chicken in his pot. And he was spending money evaluating people that he didn't even know from anyone. He made sure that they were ready to get married, that they had their costumes, they were trying to be validated. He got me a letter from this man's brother, the Levitical head of the Council of Orthodox Council of America. I didn't ask him for anything. And he got a beautiful letter from Jake, from his brother, from me, and I didn't say a word to him. He had a rabbi go to New York that was living in New York, or his brother in New York, and go to see my grandmother's rabbi to talk to him about my family. And he did everything for everyone. And still, he does everything for everybody. All he builds us, everything that we have here today, all of our learning, all of our understanding, all of our depth and understanding, all of our musa, everything that we have as a Rebbe. And we cannot realize how great a phenomenon was what Hashem did in the world by bringing the Rebbe into the world and giving him parzion and keeping it from all the different governments. People from all over the world want this piece and that piece and this piece and that. How could it be 60 years and still moving in the Rebbe's dream? We are the fruition of the Rebbe's dream. And carrying on in his way. Remember the things he said when he did talk to us, when he really cared about it. The people that were really here. I learned under him for 18 years. That's as long as he learned his records. For 12 years, I said, this guy. And I asked him at the beginning, how did you do it? Children, all the recipes, and all the rabbis, and all the marriages, and the hearts he owned, and all the difficulties, and the money, and all the conflicts, and the governments, and the wars. How could it be the fights, the fist fights, and the court battles? He said, and I said, what's that? Then I started to realize things are not happening. Normal people things started to happen. I started to see. So we see that there's a lot more here than I could say. I could talk for hours. Every Shabbos, almost every Shabbos, I talk about the refuge of the new property. And during the week when we're learning the Bible, we talk about the refuge. That's what he said. What he didn't say. What he thinks about that. What he thinks about this. What he about that. What he did about that. It's amazing how it's so hard to learn the Gemara and memorize it. Just what the Rebbe said. Just keep coming up in my mind. What he taught was piercing, bright, white light arrows that I didn't even notice going in. Okay. Thank you.
כבוד נשיא היקר הרב מרדכי
והלכלומני, היא שמה, אומר שמה, בואו ראה קודם מעלתם, שבוני חסדים, לפני נותני הצדקה. הביאו בפסוק, כתוב לחסד השם לעולם, עד עולם ולעד. אנחנו רואים פה יסוד, הבעיה של חסד זה לדורי דורות. וחסד השם לעולם ועד עולם ולעד. אם הוא עושה חסד, הזכות של החסד שהוא עושה, נותנת לדורי דורות עד סוף כל הדורות. בצדקה, בצדקתו לבני בנים. בצדקה, לעומת זאת, ערך הצדקה, לעומת החסד, ניתן, בזכות הצדקה שאדם עושה, היא רק עד דור שלישי, רק לנכדים. אדם נותן צדקה, זה יכול לעזור לנכדים שלו, לא יותר. חסד, זה דבר שבעצם המעלה של חסד הוא דורי דורות עד סוף כל הדורות. זה מה שהוא מסיים מביא. מסיים מביא, מדע ועבודה זרה, הזכרתי מה שעכשיו סיימתם, נדמה לי שזה עבודה זרה עד לידה מוקפת, דומני. שמעת שחלה, נכנע במקום. שמעת? זה מוקפת? אז בא רב לזר ופחד לבקרו. מוקפת? אז הוא אמר לו שהוא מקדם בו. מה הוא מקדם בו? הוא אמר, היה גזירה של הרומאים לא ללמוד תורה. הוא אמר, אתה עשית 5 דברים ואינך ניצור. הוא אמר, אותך לא יתפסו. אני עשיתי רק דבר אחד, אותי יתפסו. למה? שאני עסקתי בתורה בלבד, ואתה עסקת בתורה בלימוד חסדים. ולכן הזכות הזאת של חסד יחד עם תורה, היא בעצם תעמוד לך. אומרת הגמרא, כי רבוני אדום רבוני, כל העוסק בתורה בלבד, דומה כמי שאינו אלוה. אומר הרש"י, מה הפשט? דומה כמי שאינו אלוקה להגן עליו. ככה זה נכון. לכאורה, כן? זה אחד אצלה, מה זאת אומרת? אני חושב תורה ולא עושה חסד, אז אין לו הגנה, אנחנו יודעים שתורה מגינה ומצילה. איזה מין דבר זה? אומר ישראל שיש מדרש פירוט. המדרש פירוט אומר שמי שעושה חסד, כן, לא חוסה, לא בצל כנפי רוח, לא בצל שמיים, לא בצל עננים, אלא בצילו של מי שאמר והיה עולם. שאמר, מה יקח חסדך אלוקים ובצל כנפיך, ובני אדם בצל כנפיך יחסל. זה אומר חוצקאי, מה כתוב פה במדרש? אומר חוצקאי דבר נפלא. אנחנו יודעים שאדם נידון בכל יום, שמה שלנו עולה לשמיים, כל יום ונידון בכל המעשים שלנו בכל יום. אומר חוצקאי שישנם מלאכי רחמים, שהם בעצם התפקיד שלהם זה לעמוד ימינו של אדם, ולעמוד על זכות על כל מה שהוא עושה, כל מה שהוא עשה, גם העבירות שהוא עשה, זה מלאכי רחמים. אומר חוצקאי, אבל מה, גם הם מוגבלים. והעימות זכות שלהם הם מוגבלים. למה? כי יש זכות, אין אפשר ללמד זכות בבן אדם. לא, זה ישראל, אבל יש מצב, דבר שחוצקאי שנקראים נדיבים. לכן אומר לו, ישראל, זה שכתוב, אל תפתחו בנדיבים, כי גם הם מוגבלים. יש מצב אחד אומר חוצקאי, שבן אדם יכול לצאת תמיד זכאי. מתי זה? כשברוך הוא לכבודו ובעצמו יושב בדין. מתי זה קורה לו חוצקאי? מתי שבן אדם עושה חסד. כשבן אדם עושה חסד אומר חוצקאי, הוא בעצם מעלה את שורש החסד למעלה, והוא גורם כביכול הקדוש ברוך הוא, כאילו מאחר הקדוש ברוך הוא לבד המסלול. זה אומר לצחיים זמן. הדבר היחיד שבן אדם יכול לזכאי בדין בטוח. בטוח. לכן אומר לצחיים, הפשט פרשת הגמרא הזאת ברבונה נפלא מאוד. במצרים מה שהוא בעצם אומר, מה אמר רבונה? שמי שלומד תורה בלבד, לומד מי שלא נגן עליו. למה? זה עשה חסד, כמו שלומד תורה. אבל זה שלומד תורה לבד זה לא מספיק, יכול להיות שמאחר חכמים למדו על זכות תורה מגינום בצידה, אבל הם מוגבלים. אל תפתחו בדביעים. כשבן אדם עושה גם חסד, הוא גורם לזה שהקדוש ברוך הוא לכבודו בעצמו יישב בדין ויצא ולציצו זכאי. וזה מה שהוא אומר, מה יקח חסדך אלוקים? ובני אדם יוצא מנפך יחסיון, מה יקח חסדך אלוקים שבזכות זה שהוא יישב בדין, כן? יצא מנפך יחסיון, ובעצם יצא זכאי בדין. ולכן, אחד שרק עושה, רק לומד תורה ולא עושה חסד, הוא בעצם דומה כפי שהוא לא יכול להגן עליו. אין לו את ההגנה הזאת שיכול לצאת בזכאי בדין. אני רוצה לגעת פה בגלל שמורי חמיס, איך עשיתי ברכה, היה, כמו שאנחנו יודעים, רואים פה את כל המפעל היפה והאדיר שהוא עשה, שבעצם זה שילוב שכל אחד דיבר עליו, זה כמה מזולל, זה שילוב של תורה וחסד, זה שילוב של תורה וחסד, של ליווי אותם אנשים שהגיעו פה לפני 50-60 שנה, איך שהם הגיעו, ובסוף פשוט עשה מהם בני תורה לדורי דורות. הגידול הזה הוא משלב גם תורה וגם חסד. ובכל הענפים, בכל הנקודות הכי קטנות של ליווי בחיים הפרטיים, בשלום בית, בפרנסה, וכל הדברים שהוא יכל תמיד לעזור, בעצה ותזונה, תמיד לא עזר. אז ודאי וודאי שהוא עומד בדין, שזה עומד לו, הוא יוצא זכאי בדין. הוא עשה גם תורה וגם חסד. והנקודה הנוספת שבאמת התקשרתי עליה, כל מה שהוא עשה, וזה אני כל מה שבאופן אישי, היה הרבה פעמים, הסליחות שהיה לי, הוא היה מצד אחד כמו אריה, היה לו עוז, עוד בקדושה, מצד שני הוא היה בעל רגש גדול מאוד. המון פעמים, כל מה שהוא עשה עם רגש רב. הרבה פעמים שהייתי לספר לו כל מיני דברים, ואתה רציתי לפנות, וזה היה נגרר שלא יהיה כמוך אחד איתו. אמרנו עשרות פעמים, שבעצם זה היה גם מצפר, זה היה נותן לי, זה הגיע לפה בלילה, מה היה פה, בישיבה, מה שהיה פה, מה שמה. זה הרבה שניות להתחיל לפתות. היה לו רגש רב. הקימו לה את הפן החזק שבו, יש שבו, אבל הפן הזה שהולכים לפתות בשנייה, זה היה רגש פנימי חזק מאוד שהיה לו, וזה ליווה אותנו קורבניו לכל השני שבעצם היה יותר קירות איתו. וכל הדברים היו ליווים, התבטא והכל. מה שאנחנו שביקשנו, אפילו לא ביקשנו היה סרבן, תמיד ידע איפה לשים את הנקודה ואיפה לעזור ומה לעשות. אני רוצה לברך כולנו שהשמוך יעזור, שזכותו תגע לנו באשר, כמו חגר שלך, וכל כאן ישראל, שצריך לזאת בשם לשמות גדולות, נזכה, ומשיח צדקנו לבד, גאולה גדולה, ומשיח סבייסי, ומינה ונקודה שלך
before we bench, we hear David Schwartz that he was also not only a Darvish, I think probably the last time we mentioned it. A shot.
Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi, Mishpatim, Talmidim, and the rest. I had a zechut. I didn't even know what that meant when I first got here, but now I have a better understanding of a zechut to Rabbi. It's said to be a shamish to the Rosh Yeshiva. And I didn't even know that was either. But I know that when I came here, he welcomed me just like everyone has been saying over and over again. He welcomed people with open arms, with a shining face. And the first question he asked me is, what are you doing here? And I said, here to learn Torah. And he said, that's good. It's like teach Torah. And it's fitting that we're in this little hall because he then sent me down to eat because they were eating at the time. He said, have something to eat and then come to my class. And from there, he said, you're not leaving here. Yeah, I mean, they own the hostage to come back. Yes, I became a hostage. And he said, you're going to help me. And I said, okay, help me do what? Help me to teach and learn. I said, I don't know anything to teach. And he said, you'll learn. And until then, you'll help me with fundraising and helping build programs. And we did some of that. But he taught me many lessons over the years, and the 3 years that I was helping him. And the Rosh Yeshiva had a sense of humor. He was, once you could get him into the right state, and I was there while he was still walking and also towards the end of the morning. But I know one thing is that the Torah is life. And he dedicated his life to fulfilling the Torah and building a nation because he had a love for Klal Yisrael, for serving Klal Yisrael, and every Jew. I could go on about many stories, but two particular. I remember I wasn't as calm as I am now when I first got here. And he used to tell me, he says, you have anger. And I said, what do you mean I have anger? He said, no, you have anger. And he was right. But it wasn't an external anger, it was a deep, deep-rooted anger. That he had the intuition. The Rosh Yeshiva definitely had intuition. He could see a person. One of his sons spoke that every student he learned, he taught with, was exactly the way he needed to hear it. And he made it sweet. And I remember one time that anger came out, and he was right. It was late at night, about 2:30 in the morning, and I think I got back, late from visiting my son. And he said, David! Get in here! I said, oh man, I just wanted to go to sleep. And I thought, maybe the bag that he had on him was falling off. Clean it. He says, no, I need you to push me around Givat Mordechai. I said, what are you talking about? No, I need you to push me around Givat Mordechai. So eventually I came to my senses and got him dressed, got him in a wheelchair, started pushing him around Givat Mordechai. The background of the story was that we were having a discussion, or a heated discussion, about whether I was a servant or if I was a student. And finally, we were able to get that whole issue resolved. And again, it took getting him calm and in a space that he could finally be a Rebbe. And he said, look, if you think you're my servant, well, then you're not, because you're only a servant of Hashem. So if you feel that my servant, so then don't help me. And if you want to be my student, just come to my class. So you don't have to be here. He said, and I'd been divorced at the time, said, but if you want to get married, and I guess this would be a merit for all those who need to get married, you find a zivu, get married to a woman who, and I can tell you this, that he would agree, that wants you to learn and teach. Don't settle for anything less than a woman, Tzedekis, that wants you to learn and teach. I made that mistake twice, not listening to him. But regardless, he said, look, 2 things will help you get married. One is working on your midot. The Rosh Yeshiva, as we all know, is a Bala Musar, probably the last Bala Musar of the generation that could give such rebuke and give such answer. And he said the second thing is doing, as just spoke about, chesed. And he said, I am a Rosh Yeshiva, and you helping me is doing chesed on a very high level. And he said, this will help you to get married. And after that, I understood that, my reality and his reality are completely different. And the Torah's reality is even deeper and deeper. And he was right, always be right. And he followed the path of Torah and never veered and was straight and seek the truth to the nth degree. And we can see that by the fruits, his family, who is an inspiration every day to see them day in and day out. And what do? They learn and they teach Torah. Not only that, but their family and their children, and God willing, all their children, continue on that path of learning and teaching Torah. Because that's what we're here to do. We're the Jewish nation, and we're on HaRav, and the Rosh Yeshiva grasped on to the mission and the prophecy of spreading Torah from Mount Zion. And actually, it's funny, and I'll finish with this, and it sort of touches on what Rabbi Shepard earlier said. This was about 15 years ago at a Musar Shmooze that was on tape. And he said that he has a dream or a vision of the yeshiva, and I think it's happening. I mean, obviously, we're doing it. He wanted to create, this was 15 years ago, an internet station that would publicize Torah to the world. And now that Yitzhak Shirs are on YouTube, they're streaming live, and they're going out to the world. Because he believed, and he knew, that in order to bring Mashiach, build the Beis HaMikdash, and see the Geula Shalema, the Jewish nation has to learn and teach Torah, and spread it, and use the Torah to solve the world's problems. And so we all should merit to continue to grow in Torah, learn Torah, spread it to the world, and we should merit to see these Mashiach Zikim, building of the Beis HaMikdash, the Chayei Latim, stay in our days, and have our zivugim, and see the redemption and our yeshivas. Soul should have an elevation to heaven, to the heights of heaven, and cleave to the throne of glory. Amen.